Alrighty, Saeder. Oh my God, it has been a long time. I have not seen you in a while. I've been on the Sebe cast a few times, and we've had long conversations, and they've always been amazing times. So I'm really glad to have the ability to sit here and chat with you again.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, man. You're looking great. I was saying this before the recording. I'll say it one more time. You're looking great, as always. But what is this show called? Like, I feel like I watched the T Papa one, and I'm like, what even is this? Is just ignoble rambles? Like, what is this?
I don't even have a name for it yet. I wasn't. I'm not planning to make this like a Sebe cast or anything. I'm trying to get away from the whole podcast situation because I feel like that's a very, like to me it's like a 2023 type thing. I'm leaving that in the past. These are just I'm just talking to my friends. Not I'm not going to call
I
it a
see.
podcast, even though it's almost the exact same thing.
It's a podcast. You're doing exactly what new podcasters do, which is like trying to distance themselves from podcasting, but yet they are just a podcast at the end of the day. So I respect it.
Oh man, dude, I was gonna say you look good too, man. You got a sharp head, sharp beard coming in there. You got
Thank you.
damn. All right, it's kind of annoying to me. Like I've been seeing first of all some of your videos you've been having a bunch of folks on, and just general. I've been seeing people in the community. They are legitimately some good looking, handsome individuals out there.
Yeah,
It's like you think that the people around you are just a bunch of like, basement dwelling gremlins. I'm sure there are some, but like I
they would
look
never
around
show
and I feel like
themselves if they did. Yeah.
exactly. I'm like, okay, there's some very normal looking, dare I say, good looking dudes out here.
Yeah. No, I mean, literally the Saturday, I hosted a panel, and it was 7 of us on there total. And I'm
Hmm.
like looking around. I'm like, I mean, yeah, I feel like we look like we take care of ourselves, and it's impressive. I mean, I was saying just earlier, I got ZD sauce on the cast as well that hasn't been published yet, but like that dude's like he looks like he coaches, like this dude is just like athletic and fucking handsome. He's got like the full like beard, like landscaping going on, like this, and I'm just surrounded by like well-adjusted people, and yet they play a shit ton of RuneScape, and I'm like, it actually feels quite natural though to enter your 30s and stuff, and if you've kind of embraced who you are, which is very rough in your 20s, you end up
Hmm.
just being like, yeah, I like RuneScape, and I also want to take care of myself. And I feel like that's what we're sort of entering that new generation of folks. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, man. I like that people realize that you can be good at a lot of aspects in your life. If you're a RuneScape player, it doesn't mean you have to be solely a RuneScape player. You can have a
Hmm.
life outside of RuneScape, and you see that in a lot of folks. I did want to talk. You mentioned the cast here, dude. I've been seeing your YouTube channel. You have been pumping out content. You've been doing hardcore Iron Man stuff. You've been doing your usual Sebe cast for the last several years. You've been in this
Hmm.
new panel that you just mentioned, which is called Sebe Unnoted, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And that I think is really cool. That's kind of exactly what I wanted to do here, except smaller, just me and you. But I think it's awesome that you were able to bring on just a lot of folks and have that discussion with people because most of the discourse is online via text, which is nobody likes reading essays, and very rarely do you have the chance to sit face to face with somebody and really debate things. And oftentimes you disagree and you can change your mindset, and if you don't have people challenging you and the way you think, you're not going to look at a problem or look at something in RuneScape differently.
Hmm. Yeah. No, it's been really cool, and it's not even really me reaching. There's been a couple people, like I know T Papa is usually busy, so I did reach out to him personally. I'm like, hey man, because I mean he was just saying how much he's been enjoying listening to the panels. I'm like, dude, like come on, like just get on it with us. And so he was able to join, and I've kind of given a little bit of pressure toward some individuals, but ultimately it's people deciding on their own accord to join in the conversation, and it's all happening in my new shiny Discord, which is like exclusive, so I don't have just a bunch of trolls and people spamming shit and stuff in the Discord, which seems a lot more common these days. To just, I mean, I had my old Discord that I had when I first started streaming. I just deleted it the other week because it's just one, I don't even know over half the people in there anymore because it's been running for like 7 years and I was never that active in it in the first place. And it kind of sort of getting overwhelmed by just like strange individuals just kind of sharing their internal monologue in the server, and I'm like, this isn't a good look for me, and I'm not moderating anything because I would wake up in the morning and they're like, hey, somebody just posted a bunch of porn links or something in your thing, and they're like adding the mods, and I'm like, I'm not nurturing this whatsoever, and
Yeah.
I wanted sort of a fresh, clean slate. And I've also gotten off of Twitter just recently as well, over the past couple months. Like deleted my account entirely. So that was a decision because, one, I just hate the platform. It's just a total shit show over there, and it's just done so much havoc to my mental health over the years, which I didn't really recognize until lately. I feel like it's just a very slow burn of just kind of like consuming brain rot over and over and over, and like day by day by day, and especially with how unstructured my life can become because I'm a content creator. I feel like first thing I do in the morning is like check all my notifications, and then I'm just like scrolling, and I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at right now? And it was just this constant thing, and I'm like, okay, I have this following there. I had like almost 9,000 followers, which is a decent chunk. It's not anything crazy, but I never spent too much time actively trying to grow my Twitter. Just kind of grew organically, but I just kept feeling the same, like I need to be here. I need to post my stuff. I need to give my hot takes, and it was awful for my mental health personally. So if anybody else is in the same boat, I'd probably encourage you to get off of it as well. But some people just thrive. They just kind of they don't take it as seriously. I feel like I became a lot more emotionally attached to attacks and whatever else would happen because it's just like I am an online individual. I'm online every goddamn day. So it's hard to sort of just take a huge break from it, especially when it is also part of my income as well. To how I'm perceived online is a big part of my well-being in so many ways. It's tied to my income. It's tied to what I'm doing live streaming. That's also why I took a break from live streaming, because that was also sort of deteriorating my mental health. And I feel like entering my 30s, especially after meeting Haley, my girlfriend, she's given me a lot broader of a perspective as well of okay, I want to clean up my own life. I want to make myself have a healthy life and be able to be the best partner I can be. And that was one of the decisions I decided on doing. And it was kind of scary because, again, being in the content creation scene, it's like you feel like you need to be on all platforms spreading your shit everywhere, and you just really don't have to. I mean, I'm also in a lucky position, but I could go on. I don't even know what the original thing was. I'm just going off right now.
No, that's a good perspective. I'd love to talk with you about this towards the end of the cast, actually. I wanted to dive into a little more RuneScape at the beginning, just to keep RuneScape people in. And then I know we've done a few Saeder casts, and I looked at the time length of the first time we did it, and it was 5 hours of us just chatting with each other about anything and everything. And I'm like, I know for a fact you and I could just sit here and just probably spend 6 hours talking about anything from RuneScape to all these other things. So I'm gonna focus our conversation on one aspect just to start off with, and then we'll broaden our horizons from there. How's that sound?
Absolutely.
So,
I'm down.
Let's do it, man. So I know I had T Papa on last week, and the huge topic of conversation for me was the summer sweep up. And I respect T Papa's opinions a lot. He is also an Iron Man, but he is a younger Iron Man. I don't know how to put it. He's he has less time invested in the game. Not that he doesn't have not a lot. He has put a lot of time in it, but I think you are somebody who has probably at least double the amount of time he has across your main iron and also the new iron that you have. And I think that your takes are based a little more based in nuance. I think there's a lot of me and T Papa were agreeing a lot on a lot of things. But I think I respect your opinion on a lot of these fronts because you've given a lot of opinions over the last few years. So I kind of want to hear your general thoughts at the beginning about just what are your thoughts on the summer sweep up coming up? What it's been like in the past few years for you, and how this one, to me, has felt a little different. I don't know if it's felt that way for you. So we'll start there, and we'll go in a little deeper.
So, I mean, I'm a huge fan of summer sweep ups, just any sort of sweep up. I get more excited. I'm very strange in this way. I get more excited over just like cleaning up old content than I am with new content releases.
Hmm.
Part of that, if I were to psychologically analyze why that is the case, it's probably just a lot of anxiety when like new content comes out. It just feels very overwhelming. And a
Hmm.
big reason I enjoy this game as well is because of the familiarity, like that deep sort of comfort I get from logging in and knowing what I'm about to do, understanding the game. Um, it would be a disaster if this game like completely changed, over the last, if like year by year, if you were to take a break and you log back into the game and it's just completely unfamiliar, that would, you know, leave a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths and probably have a lot of people quitting. So old school has this nice, um, thing going for it where it feels very familiar to all these veteran players and even, players that have started up in the last few years. They want to log into a game and understand what's going on. So in my view, I'm always just like, okay, we have this one opportunity a year seemingly to have a nice cleanup. And one of my biggest hobby horses is cleaning up skilling. I just want skilling to feel good. And there are I could probably list on one hand like the amount of quality skilling content that I actually look forward to interacting with. Most of it is just, this is terrible. I'm doing it and I kind of have to trick myself into thinking this is all right. But ultimately, when I go to PVM, it's just like, man, I mean, when I sink myself into PVM, the
Hmm.
last thing I want to do is touch skilling again. And that's why in
Yeah.
like a lot of my early accounts, I'm just super hyper focusing on skilling, just to not get distracted. Because as soon as I get distracted with PVM, it's just like I see how much better the game
Yeah.
is in so many aspects and how much more just satisfying everything is about PVM. So with
PVM
these
is way
sweep
more
ups,
engaging, right? It's like it's
it
got like
is.
a lot more into it, which makes sense. Like you're fighting a boss, there's reactions to it. You have to be proactive to it. Scaling doesn't have that, which like rightfully so, but like there is something which I watched one of your videos a long while back. I've never been much of a skiller, but at some point I did max or was max before sailing, and I remember watching like a long video of you. I think it was tick manipulating gem rocks, and you're just playing trance, and you were just tick manipulating. And you said something later about it's just a rhythm. Once your brain is there and you're just in the zone. It's just in that like you're just kind of in a flow state. Like it finally clicked. I'm like, I see what you mean. Like you're not doing this. Like, I see like sort of PVM and skilling in two separate buckets. Like scaling is when I'm in the zone, just kind of mentally kind of in a flow state, just kind of existing, almost like a meditative kind of situation. PVM can get to that at some point, but like it does have a lot more opportunity for engagement coming in different ways as you're fighting bosses.
Yeah. There's issues with that ultimately. I mean, I think a lot of the time when I'm making an hour long video of gem mining, what you don't see is as soon as that hour recording's over, I'm like shaking my wrist out. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like that was
Yeah.
it's not like I haven't luckily dealt with any like real wrist pain or wrist issues, but I deal
Mm-hmm.
with discomfort. You do high level tick manipulation in this game and it's just exhausting. Like you do need breaks and I strength train and stuff, so like at least I'm able to have like decent wrists that I've never dealt with, pain. And if it ever got to that point, I would take breaks. I'm not some crazy skiller that's doing like some 24, like a 30-hour record or something, like just sleep depriving and stuff. So I've never been that type of player. But there is something really cool about what you said, that flow state you can enter into with a lot of skilling content. The issue is a lot of that deep flow state you can get
Mm-hmm.
relies on this sort of predictable resource extraction, which we do see a lot of the time with tick manipulation. The issue is it's just completely destroyed by how many clicks you have to do in an hour or literally in a tick. I mean, some of the time you're doing 3 clicks a tick and it's just this endless repetition. You don't see anything like that with PVM. PVM, yes, you have some moments, if you're doing like 4 to 0 ohm and you're doing a full ass 7-way switch. I mean, that is like probably the most extreme you'll ever get with just sheer amount of clicks. And a lot of people just don't do that. They'll just do like a 4-way or something, or not even do 4 to 0. And there's always these options. And I just see it as, this is one of the points I wanted to bring up. PVM in this game has evolved so drastically over the years. We used to have Barrows and KQ and DKs. Like, that was the extent. Like, DKs, do you remember back in the early days? We had, like, Cloud Badass posting a video of him doing, like a fucking huge... I don't even know how many he killed, like thousands of DKs in one trip. Like, what the fuck? This guy did this many DKs in one trip. Like, that was insanity. And that video got a crazy amount of views. And that was just God tier PVM. And it's like, imagine we stayed with that formula all the time, where bosses are just very clunky, very basic, and we just never evolve. That is basically what skilling has become. And I think part of it is because there's a lot more... sort of influence, very, I need to be careful saying this word. Listen, I'm probably autistic. Have I been diagnosed with it? No, but the amount of fucking hours I put into this game, like, it's clear I have the autism to some degree. So I just want to say, like, before I start, saying autistic over and over about, just keep in mind, like, I'm probably mildly autistic myself. So if anybody's getting very offended by my use of that word, just... It's not to offend. It's almost just humorous. It's just a way to explain what's actually going on. We have a very autistic skilling community that really has very strong views on things. With PVM, it's not really that way. And there's never been sort of an XP focus with PVM. But what we have been, we've been sort of caged into this, like, sort of prison because of a lot of influence of super, super high level skillers that are very autistic, and they have very strong, ideas of what skilling should be. And a lot of that is like, XP rates can never go above this point. Skilling always needs to be this. It needs to be knife log. It needs to have these sorts of structures. We can never stray away from it. We've also sunk into this really deranged mindset, which everyone's pretty much accepted, which is like, skilling is... how many clicks do you do in a method? That should determine the XP rate. It's like the amount of clicks. Like, we are basing skilling methods off of, like, clicks or intensity, but nothing about, like, fun. Like, there's no actual aspect of, like, fun. It's just, how many clicks are you doing in this method? Or how active is this method? How many seconds of downtime do you have? It's like, we are measuring the most useless metrics in order to develop a skilling method. And if any skilling method sort of strays off the beaten path, there's this huge uproar from the skilling community that's like, that's inappropriate, absolutely not, don't do that. And I could start listing examples, but it's just, we have remained in this really sort of static state where skilling's never got to sort of blossom. And it really can blossom. There are many, many solutions into having skilling legitimately be fun on that level of fun that PVM sees. And yet we just don't do it because, one, there's a lot of fear, and two, a lot of the developers are terrified to death of upsetting the sort of skilling status quo, which is a big concern of mine. And I feel like we need to get out of it ASAP.
Okay, I got a few questions to that. That makes sense. I just want to first of all say it's humorous. You had to preface your use of the word.
I do, because
in this situation.
I get the occasional commenter that, like, if I use that word, they're like, "Hey, that's just really derogatory, man. Like, stop it. Like,
yeah,
that's fucking inappropriate." And I'm like, I get it, but it's really not meant as anything more than just the reality of the situation. Like, a lot of the players in this game that have sunk tens of thousands of hours are probably mildly autistic, including myself.
You're looking at two of them right here, man.
Yeah. So,
I don't know if there's a better word to describe it. It's just such a generic word. It comes off very, for some, it comes off very derogatory because there's a whole spectrum associated with it, right? But yeah. I think in this day and age, you realize it is a spectrum. There are people who are extremely autistic, but like there's levels of the tism, which is just like, oh man, I really enjoy this game. I'm gonna sink a lot of time into it. And that goes into like a lot of, there's like tie-ins with ADHD and things like that. I'm not an expert in that domain, but I pick up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
The thing I did want to talk about was for the skilling stuff. I'm actually very curious. I'm not very in tune with the skilling side of things. I'll be very completely honest with that. I'm personally more of a PVMer. Not that I'm a good PVMer, but definitely engage more in PVM content. Why do you think Jagex really respects those high-level skilling folks' opinions to when they say they want, X amount of clicks determine this, or it can't be above a certain XP threshold? Why do devs feel like they can't expand into that space and be like, deal with it, we know the game better than you guys?
Well, I think the biggest reason is just a lot of fear of the game sort of changing its core identity. And a lot of people think there's something important about keeping skilling masochistic and keeping it like a chore and a sort of respectable thing of like how long can you suffer for? And that's the respectability. I mean, genuinely, there's people to this day that are like very much like we should never change agility. We should never make it fun. We should never do anything because then it will detract from your 99 cape. If you get 99 agility, people will respect you because you suffered. And it's like, why the fuck? We're playing a video game where that's the objective, is to like show off your suffering. Like, this is terrible. Yeah. I understand like putting in hours to things. It's different. If somebody were to grind out a Scythe, for example, or a T-Bow, like that's a shit ton of hours, but nobody's saying you suffered. I mean, again, I guess if you go like dry and stuff, you'll start saying you suffered and stuff. That's an RNG element of things. But most of the time, people are loving the grind. They want to go back into the next raid. They're having fun with their friends. Agility is like a solo experience. You're just dying in the inside, and you're just hating every second of it. I'm actually doing some rooftops right now, which is actually chill. I will give credit. If something is as mind-numbing as rooftops can be, having a conversation definitely like masks it, which is nice. But I think what we really need though is more and more brilliantly designed content that is fully skilling focused and completely goes against the sort of classic skilling that we see. I mean, Hallowed Sepulchre was a wonderful example of what we can see. I mean, there is nothing like Hallowed Sepulchre in this game. And there's some issues with it. One is just the amount of requirements it takes to get there, and then to have the real fun, floor 5, you got to get 92 agility. Who the hell has 92 agility? So it's like, in order to even engage in this really enjoyable content, you just have these huge just
like big barriers to entry, right? They're just like, I really liked how you brought up Sepulchre, because I think Sepulchre is one of the greatest skilling updates, because you do agility. I'd say even floors 1 through 4 are decent. They're cool. Okay, whatever. But something about floor 5 is like, this is about like, it becomes like PVM. You're being reactive to the arrows getting shot around. You are being proactive, trying to dance around, figure out your pathing and stuff like that. It is not just a single mind-numbing kind of, click here multiple times and in the exact same spot for 3 ticks over the course of an hour. It is spread out. You are sort of thinking. You are almost. It is like a PVM experience, except you're not fighting anything, but you're still worrying about your pathing and things like that. And that, I think, helped me a lot. Like my 92 to 99 agility grind was entirely at Hallowed Sepulchre. And I was like, dude, this is so engaging and fun. It's like, yeah, like the learning curve is a little steep for 5 at the beginning, but like it's still, every PVM boss is like that.
Yeah. And one of the upsetting things as well is just the lack of just sort of like, how do I say this? Just lack of feedback, like satisfying feedback you get from skilling. Think of, when you swing your scythe at a monster, you're getting this full-ass animation of your dude loading up a scythe and swinging, and then you see this XP drop that can be massive. It can also be dinky, but you get this like kind of RNG element of like, how big is the swing? And then when you see the fat number, you're like, oh my God, like that was sexy. Like it's just, it's so stupid. I mean, but our brain, our monkey brains are like, that felt good.
Right.
And you see that when you mine a fucking rock, you know exactly what it's going to give you in XP. And you know what the animation is? Not some exploding rocks or anything. Nope. Just the fucking color goes gray. It's like this depressing gloom of like, the color was brown. Now it's gray. That's the extent of it. And your pickaxe immediately just goes back, and it doesn't even look like you're holding the pickaxe anymore. It's just sitting, just standing there like blank face, like what the fuck. This is the kind of shit that a lot of people don't recognize is detracting so much from skilling. I mean, we could come out with a new mining mini game, for example, that's so fucking simplistic, and it would change how people think about skilling. One is just get rid of all the goddamn stickiness. Get rid of the like walk to a rock and then you load up, and then 3 ticks later you get the rock. So it's like a total of 5 full ticks between like one rock extraction to the next. With PVM, it's like you're 2 tiles away. You click the guy, just click, boom. Literally the very next tick that registers, you've swung. It's over. Like that's it. Mining doesn't have any of that. There's a lot of stickiness. Imagine you were to click the next enemy, and you walk over there, you magnet to the guy, you wait 3 ticks, and then your weapon finally goes off. That's the kind of shit that we see in Brighter Shores, by the way. I don't know if nobody's taken a look at Andrew Gower's new game, but it's like the PVM in that game is so atrocious. There's so many clicks that need to happen before anything starts registering. I mean, who knows? Maybe some changes have happened. There was a lot of old school excitement about, the old school community was getting excited about it, and then they played like 5 seconds of it, like it's terrible. And it's like because there's just too much like friction to get into the good stuff, like too many just annoyances, little teeny sticky things that are just terrible. And so going back to like a new mining mini game that we could introduce, it doesn't even have to necessarily be a mini game. It's just, I mean, I guess I will use it, just to try to illustrate a little bit of what I mean. I mean, imagine, you had like a fucking mine cart that had like 5 seats on it, and you get your 5 people. You could have like 1 to 5 people. You enter it, you go down into this little fucking mine shaft, and there's just a bunch of fucking rocks down there, and every single one of them can be 1 ticked. And you can start getting like different pickaxes that have like exploding stuff to it. So like its special attack is like an exploding pickaxe where you're just exploding rocks and you're just seeing them fucking shoot off, and you're getting these just massive XP drops, and you got to dump it into like a fucking cleaner thing similar to MLM, but it's like you dump it all, you run back to the place, and you're mining with your friends. You're just trying to clear out this area. So there's an actual objective. It's not just like these rocks are here permanently, and you're just going to fucking keep chipping this one away, and it just goes gray, then it respawns, goes gray, respawns. Like, this is terrible. How about have an objective of clear out this fucking room of debris, and everything's 1 tickable. There's exploding rocks. You're helping your friends out, clear out this section because you need multiple people on a rock. And there's an objective to get to the final, like, amazing ore that is worth a lot. And then there's, a 1 in 128 chance that it's like some giga rock that ends up, being some basically like a raid purple-esque type vibe where you finally got it, and it's this insane upgrade to a pickaxe that now has some crazy special attack for outside of the minigame. It's like things like that where it's sort of team-based, and you can do it in 1 man's, but you can also do it in 5 man's, and every single time you complete it, you're getting like an additional chance of this, and there's probably like an XP drop at the end. So you're kind of encouraged to bring as many people as you want, but you also can do it solo, and you'll be getting a little less XP. Like, but the whole experience is fun, and there's fucking exploding debris and shit. Like, that is why not have a fucking dungeon where you're mining and there's an objective to clear out this area? It's like we just don't see much, sort of like expansion of imagination with skilling.
To me, it sounds like there's 2 things to me here. Like this is now getting away from like the flow state tick manipulation kind of high level, high efficiency skilling, and more towards like a mini game style for skill. And I would argue that like half of what you described is already in something like Volcanic Mine. Like that exists. I'm not saying it's in a great state right now, because I have done Volcanic Mine before and treated it as like basically an AFK situation. You click a rock here, and then you move down a bit. It is kind of the similar mindset. You're trying to kind of like what you described. You're trying to get some like lava to flow through, so you're mining debris at different points, and you're getting things thrown at you. So like, to me, it sounds like this would be an expansion to the Volcanic Mine minigame, which would make it feel more like kind of like a raid, but mining based, if that's what I'm hearing.
So this is the problem with something like Volcanic Mine. It's
Mm-hmm.
just you go in, you click the rock, and you just wait for it to kind of be done. In what
Mm-hmm.
I'm imagining, it's way more active. The whole time you are clicking rocks. I mean, everything is kind of one tickable. You'll have some stacks of rocks that maybe take additional clicks on it, but every single action is a click. So this is a full engagement. It could be very high XP per hour, very high reward base because it is full focus. It's what we see with skilling is this constant sort of pushback of like, oh, we can't make it too active, but we'll keep fucking 3-tick 4G, just the most insane fucking bullshit of all time with no reward whatsoever and just terrible and nobody wants to do it and you're gonna break your wrist doing it.
Gotcha.
You don't need any of the knife log stuff. You just need a bunch of rocks to clear out and you're just smashing it. Everything's one tickable, so you're just getting constant feedback and constant explosion of debris and you're just whacking things and you have strategy to like clear out certain areas where like multiple of your teammates got to get on one rock and explode it. You could even start setting up dynamite and shit and having massive explosions in other areas.
Yeah.
Like, again, the art team would need to just, work a great deal probably to make this actually look good for old school graphics. But it's just that sort of excitement of running around nonstop, being fucking active as hell and wanting to be active because you're hunting a rare item. And, what we see with raids is you don't pull up to raids and you just click the fucking boss and just kind of wait there and like, try to go get a drink really quick. You're engaged the whole goddamn time because there's a sick reward that you want to get. And you want to, there's sort of a competition to see how much DPS you can do. Same thing here would be like, how many points can I get? And then, it'd show how many points each of your teammates has in the thing. And you're being, anybody else that's, getting points is an encouragement. You want your raid partners to be doing massive DPS. Because you want the raid to get done quicker.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think VM, is that's kind of where we sort of like relax our brains. We're like, yeah, VM's good enough. It's not good enough. It's just boring. It's like the whole thing's just kind of boring. It's a little bit more interesting because you're with your friends and stuff, but ultimately there's nothing really going on once you get it down. It's just
So from a scaling perspective, would you like to see every skill have something like this? Like wood cutting is going to have this, mining is going to have this, fishing is going to have this? Because I would almost argue that there are so many mini games already in the game that it feels almost like bloated at this point. Like they have at this point released a mini game for every skill, right? Like mining has volcanic mine, mining has like blast mine as well. Can you name anybody who does that?
I actually just did it on my hardcore. I gathered 400 runite from it. It was insane.
Okay.
It was a sick grind.
I take it back then. Somebody is actually doing that content.
There's so many adjustments they can make to that place, but overall, I actually don't mind blast mine. Again, in comparison to what we have at the moment with mining, it's not bad.
Would you consider putting together a mini game that takes into account all of these different skilling things, or do you think that would just be like too much, too catch all? Like it would have both like wood cutting in it, mining. Like you would have to form a raid team, and this raid team you're gonna need one fisher, one miner, one woodcutter, and you guys got to get in there and get to the end of the raid, and you might get a 1 in 300 chance of getting a cool drop.
Yeah, I always get a little worried about combining skills. I mean, people have always suggested sort of like a skilling raid, and that terrifies me because one, it's just you'll never do normal skilling ever again because it's just everyone's just gonna do the skilling raid, it's just gonna be super fun, and they're actually gonna just add elements of PVM, and then it's just gonna we're gonna totally see skilling's terrible across the board. The other thing is I'm very aware of how much nostalgia is attached to like the wider game, and as much as I would love to just fucking clean up mining mechanics across the board, a lot of people would be upset with that. Just the idea of it without even seeing it. They're just, nope, off the board. Like, nope, we got to keep old school, don't touch anything. And so I'm aware of that. And I also, align with a lot of that. It's scary to add anything that's going to just change the landscape of old school. I mean, forestry was one of those updates that I didn't like, mainly just because of the sheer amount of weird ass Toontown events that were just happening nonstop. And you basically felt obligated to participate all the time. But so I'm very hesitant to say, like, let's clean up the wider surface of Gielinor, make rocks all super fun to mine. I just think it is a better solution at the moment, realistically, to seclude the area, see how it performs, see how players enjoy a certain piece of content, and then that can sort of be expanded if people wanted it. And to your other question about should we do this for all skills, I think there are several skills right now that really need some adjustment. One is agility, one is mining, and some could even say rune crafting. And I think I want to touch on rune crafting just real quick. One of the ideas I had years back was, a sort of like, I call it the cosmic underworld. And it's pretty much just this repeatable sort of like sepulcher hallway type vibe. Not as difficult, but something like that, where it's not you're just running to the altar and that's the extent of it. It's like, no, there's constant engagement with moving through traps and stuff to the altar. That would be fun, not just fucking difficult and annoying and unpredictable. Just like something that feels very good but is active the entire time. And then you're crafting a shit ton of runes per hour because it's a full ass engagement thing with nice rewards and stuff. And then agility, I just want to touch on briefly. And again, these are all just simple ideas that I feel like didn't take long to think up at all. One of them is just, have you ever watched like the Ninja Warrior TV show?
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Wipeout, where you're just watching people go over these stupid obstacles. Yeah, it's like we could have something like that in RuneScape where it's not Sepulcher and it's not rooftops. It's sort of like a hybrid where, it's a hybrid in the fact, so it's not Sepulcher, but it's super active. So that's sort of the hybrid part of Sepulcher. But everything's clickbox based. You'd have one obstacle where you're climbing up a fucking rock wall and there's clickbox handholds you're going up, but it's like 1 tick, 2 tick, 1 tick, 2 tick, and if you ever like speed up or anything, you slip and you fall. It's just, but every single thing is rhythmic. It's like you're constantly going up, and then there's like a Yama stepping stone thing that you're jumping over. Everything has to be 1 tick. If you delay even 1 tick, you slip and fall, and you got to redo that obstacle. And then there's like a fucking totem pole that you're like sliding up on, and it's just a 1 tick spam type thing. And if you mess up at all, you just slide down. It's like very active, sort of engaging and very visually pleasing agility courses that are fully active the entire time. Clickbox based. It's simplistic, but there's patterns you kind of have to recognize. And so you're not just immediately going to go in and know exactly what you're doing. Like with a rooftop course, at any point in the next fucking 6 hours, click the next obstacle and you're fine. Like that's it. It's just, it's so dull. And if you had a super engaging, like it doesn't even need to be complicated. It's just make things that feel good. When you click something, and then the thing that people love in this game is the sort of magneting. Like, when you pass an obstacle or you do an action and your guy is actually, like your true tile is actually moving, but your character hasn't registered really. And then you just fucking slingshot over to the next thing. Like that's what we need more of. We need an agility course where at the very end, you jump to like a fucking sand pit and you watch your dude like jump onto a sand pit, and then you're already running, but your dude's still recovering from the sand pit. And you just fucking slingshot to the next obstacle. And if you're good enough and you understand true tile enough, you're already on the next obstacle, jumping over the next thing, 1 ticking or something, and dodging little moving balls that are going, or moving axes. And people are just gonna be like, dude, this guy's a fucking wizard. He's just like, he's moving before he's even like visually there. And it would be so satisfying and so simplistic. And we just don't see it. And we haven't seen it in 13 years.
For agility, I actually very, very much agree with you. Something like that is between the mind-numbing boringness of rooftops and agility courses versus like Sepulcher, that I really like the idea of having a rhythm, especially agility, because that's one of those things where like an agile person should have some form of rhythm as they're running, right? At least that's what I'm thinking in my head. But like, I really like the idea of like, you have to click in succession, like every tick, like boom, on this obstacle, you got to click every tick. On the next one, you have to like know when to click on the right times. And if you mess up, you fall back down and you have to keep doing it again until you get the right rhythm. And that is rewarding. That is a big part of PVM. PVMing is like, there's a lot of rhythm involved in raids, right? Like think Olm. Olm is 4-0, 4-1, 3-0. Like everything that is based off like a tick-based rhythm. And that's why it feels mentally so satisfying when you get that rhythm down. I think a lot of people's favorite fight is solo Ulm because of that rhythm of how good it feels. And I would love to see that replicated across even something as simple as agility. Like, I don't think it'll be at the level of Ulm, but like getting there, some level of dopamine rather than just like, I'm just going to turn my brain off, click on this click box. It's like, it doesn't feel as stimulating. And in this, I understand the game is old and that like that's what agility was, but we're in 2026, right? We can completely revamp that if we want.
Yeah. I mean, think of the interesting parts of PVM, like Warden Skulls. You get a little taste of it here and there. These little Warden Skull patterns, got to figure it out. You could throw the same thing into this agility course. We just got a little like diagonal pathing, little pillar booth that's 2 tiles apart. Boom, 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 boom. You're getting like XP every single time you're doing it. And then you're on to the next obstacle. And like, dude, you can just do so much with this. Like literally and here's another cool thing that we don't see. Imagine there was like a sort of Yama stepping stone thing in that agility course. Imagine you hit a high enough agility level that now you can actually skip stones. So you're watching all the noobs doing 1 stone at a time. You've now hit level 80. You can now fucking skip them. So you're just fucking leaping past these noobs. You're like, see ya. It's like that kind of excitement of knowing you're kind of improving at the course. But it's a choice, like, do you want to, get a little bit more XP in these little stones right now, or do you just want to fucking skip it and get to the next obstacle and ultimately get more XP per hour? And it's just, there's so many cool things. And then, without even, I won't get too much into it, but like agility shortcuts across the game. We are dumbing everything down. We just saw it with the Draenor Manor to the Champions Guild shortcut. That used to be like 4 stones. It was terrible because every single one took fucking 5 seconds to register what the hell is going on, and then you slip anyway. Even at 80 plus agility, you're still slipping. And then what they decided to do was just make it 1 stone, and it's still, you just sit there, pause, jump across the next one, delay again. Why the fuck don't you just like make it the 4 stones and make it Yama? Boom, 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 slingshot to the next area. It's like, that's the kind of shit we need across the game. We need things to feel satisfying and rapid and addicting, and we just don't see it anywhere. And everything's getting dumbed down in skilling, which is just so depressing to me.
There's something about having that fluidity of the Yama stepping stones. It feels good in the middle of your PVM. Like it's literally exactly what you're talking about as an agility course. Like in the middle of a Yama kill, that 1/3 or 2/3 of the way through, I'm like, okay, how fast can I like one tick my gear and then like try to jump to stepping stone, get a mage attack off, and keep like, keep moving. It feels good. It feels satisfying to be able to get into that rhythm and that, get it off.
Yeah, and then another really cool thing about skilling that we see is having natural breaks. So Guardians of the Rift does it well. At the end of every minigame, you just have like a guaranteed like 2-minute AFK where you can go get your water, go stretch, go do whatever. Let's just say the agility course had several different obstacles. It takes a good, 3 minutes to complete. And then the ending part is you running down like a diagonal hill. So it's just like a forced sort of click to the next thing, but your dude's just going to now run down. And so you just click once and you just see your guy running down and stuff. And then you feel like you have this natural sort of minute break to sort of just relax and get your bearings and, do whatever you're going to do on the other screen. So you kind of get these nice breaks that don't feel like you're wasting XP because it's forced. It's like a forced sort of thing. So it's not just constant spamming until the end of time. And every time you take a break, it's just a terrible feeling in your gut.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's awesome. I love the idea. No, I love the idea of scaling here because as I mentioned, it's not something that I think too deeply about. As and maybe it's unfortunate because I have already gone through the gauntlet of all the 99s to get that. I'm like, all right, whatever's done is done. Like at this point, like I'm very unlikely to re-engage with any type of skilling content. I have no interest in going back and doing like agility, for example, unless like I for some reason need to go back to Hallowed Sepulchre and get another ring or something. Like only reason I would potentially re-interface with runecrafting is because I'd do Guardians of the Rift, or if I want to like go and make my own blood runes with the extract and things like that. So I feel a little removed, but this is a very refreshing view, especially as someone like, I know you are building up your new Iron Man, and which is not maxed yet. And like, you are engaging in all these new methods, which are different from the way you did it on your first Iron Man. It's like, I feel like if I've never made a new account. I've always played on my one tried and true Iron. I've played leagues and, all these types of things. So there is a little bit of, but it's obviously not as much as in the real game that you would engage with, right?
Yeah.
So to hear this and think about the new player perspective, or just try to change this in a way that, yeah, maybe somebody will go back and just do agility for fun. Because right now I cannot mentally imagine anybody after 99 going to the RD rooftop and being like, yeah, you know what? Let's run laps for fun. That sounds like a great idea. No one is ever going to do that. You did that. Okay, never mind.
I did it on Save mainly because just, I don't know, I was very completionist based, and I've always kind of been a skiller. Like, I am a skiller at heart, which is why I get so offended by all the shitty ass skilling methods we have and the fact that we're just choke held in this goddamn state of everything needs to be knife log and not rewarding whatsoever. And then anything less than just the most insane thing is just brain off, brain dead, get into a goddamn like coma, basically just coma state. Just like I just everything has to be like one click every 10 seconds, and it's just terrible. There's no real AFK. It's just like, I think of some place like Motherlode Mine or just any activity where it's just nothing is happening here. Nothing is happening. Nothing interesting. Nothing stimulating whatsoever. It's just terrible across the board. And we all just deal with it. And that's why everybody flocks to PVM for good reason. I fucking love PVM too. And I'm happy it's thriving. And I want to continue to see it thrive. But I hate that a big aspect of this game has been neglected for the entirety of old school. It's so depressing to me.
I know you mentioned scaling as a whole. You talked about mining a bit. You talked about agility a bit. I do want to focus a little, like real quick, on the agility stuff, because one of the great suggestions, I think, is having that intermediate between Sepulcher and rooftops, like something engaging. That is obviously challenging. You have to design a whole course, build that entire thing up. Is there anything, do you think Jagex can do in a sweep up perspective? Do you think that they can knock out in the course of like a quick update in a week or two, or maybe even a few weeks, to make agility just feel better and be more engaging?
Yeah. Again, if we want to go the simplest route, we have to make adjustments to Hallowed Sepulcher, because many people just don't engage with it for good reason. I can't even engage with it. I haven't completed Sins of the Father. So Sins of the Father, obviously, it's unfortunate because any skiller just can't engage with it. Any person that wants to remain level 3 or just doesn't want to do, that quest, or just isn't high enough combat for it, they're completely blocked out of it until they get it done. And then when you do get it done, what agility level are you? Fucking 70? Like, it's just by that point, you're just like, okay, so I have to do floor 1 and 2 on repeat? God damn, this sucks. That's terrible. Yeah. You have to hit level 72 before you can even start floor 3. It's just like, what is going on here? So, I mean, you got to reduce the level threshold. So 92 for floor 5, that easily could be brought down to 85 at the bare, at the highest. Really, it should be like 85. I would even advocate for just saying level 80. And then, everything below that is just like 10 levels below. So it's like you're instantly engaging with things immediately. And, I have like my micro gripes. I think a lot of the time it feels very sticky trying to loot in Hallowed Sepulcher. Everything feels a little like, just get on with it.
Taking 20 minutes to open the tomb. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get poisoned 3 goddamn times. Like, why are you, it's just literally, I mean, again, it goes back to the masochistic philosophy that skilling's always had. Like, yeah, there's got to be a bunch of random RNG checks just to fucking irritate you for no reason. Just here's some irritating stuff that we needed to add. Okay, well, get a higher level and it won't be as irritating. Well, I'm level 99 and I still failed this 3 times. Well, fuck you. That's pretty much the extent of it. And it's like, why are we adding all this garbage? And so yeah, if it was me, it would be make all these looting things way quicker. Just speed up the animations. We don't care about me moving 1 tile away from the fucking grapple thing, and then my guy stops there for a tick, moves over to the center, loads up, moves across, fails it, moves across again, fails it again, and then finally loots the chest, get fucking poisoned 3 times. Finally gets it, moves across, and I got, what did I get? A fucking 6 monkfish, unnoted. Christ. Like, it's just, this is the kind of shit that makes people want to leave and go to raids. Like, it's just terrible. We are purposely, like, it's like we're just fucking poisoning all the good stuff constantly. And it's because we're still in the dark ages with the shit. We just got to stop with the goddamn bullshit. And again, it's very hard. I'm avidly been talking about this shit for years now, because I feel like I feel like I'm surrounded by just people that have not seen the light yet. Like, we don't need to do this. Look at Doom. Look at Yama. This content is fucking fun. They clean up the garbage. They make things more fun. They want players to engage and have a smile on their face when they're doing it, That's not the case with skilling whatsoever. So, to answer your question, make the levels lower. You pretty much solve it, because then there will be if they were to lower it all the way to level 80, as soon as you hit level 80, you're doing floor 5, and if you aren't looting, if you're good enough, which a lot of people aren't good enough. People say Sepulcher needs to have an XP increase. If it was actually level 80, you actually have a decent chunk to actually learn it, because, it is fucking hard at first. Like, a lot of people are not getting anywhere near 100K an hour, even with floor 5 at first. They're struggling over and over and over, and they're like really tilting. But if you could, if there was that potential of being level 80 and knowing you can get 100K XP an hour if you learn this thing properly, there'd be a lot more incentive to do that. Instead, it's level 92, where people have already spent, over 1.5 million XP grinding Artie, and they've already just gotten fully addicted. Like, I'm just gonna do this. Like, it's just not worth going now over to Sepulcher. I'm already just like locked in on this place. So, just get people into this engaging stuff earlier. That's important.
Totally agree there, man. That makes a lot of sense. I do want to pivot this actually on the topic of like Sepulcher. I think that's a great place. It is agility training. I consider it like kind of like a mini game. The thing that I really, really do like about it are almost like the incremental upgrades you get along the way. Think like the hallowed ring, the hammer, and all the other, I forget what the mark is to get you there. The one that stops you from taking damage and things like that. And I really like that they have the currency, which is like whatever the hallowed tokens are. And these upgrades feel small. It's like, not only do you feel like they're very, very attainable, which they are, and they make your quality of life within Sepulcher much better. So like when you're first in Sepulcher, you're like, okay, I just took damage, and it's like I get hit by an arrow, take damage, I get teleported to the back, and it takes longer or something like that. After you get the hallowed thing that stops that from happening, you don't take damage, but you get teleported to the back, and you move like a little faster, and that just feels better. You're like, okay, I'm working towards that. I'm gonna get that item. I'm also getting better, and I'm trying to take that across like a lot of different mini games. And when I was talking to T Papa last week, like one thing that came up was Guardians of the Rift. I want to see, not just there, but I'll use that as an example, but I use like the Abyssal Lantern. I want that to be the same kind of thing here. It's like I want that to be a pretty common drop, so that it increases the fun that you have in the game. Not even the fun, but like it makes the game a slightly easier. Not like incredibly easier, like completely devalues everything else, but like it gives you something to work towards. I find that like Guardians of the Rift's like reward system is not satisfying. You don't like, there are people who go to 99 without a lantern, and you're like, this only helps me in the mini game. What's the point of like doing all this? So like I think Sepulcher is one of those places that has done that really, really well, because you're like, okay, now I got the hammer, I got the lantern, I got all these things, and you're not even close to 99 by the time you get all that. Like you're like
you
pretty
can get
early
it in hours, like just a matter of a couple hours, and you got all of them. And
it feels good, because you're like, oh, I'm here, I'm getting it. Like, even though I'm getting frustrated by what's going on in here, like, oh, I can't, like, it's taking me a long time to loot this, and I'm dying, taking damage here. You can get around that by getting these unlockables, and it feels good to be like, okay, now I got that. Let's go keep, smashing our head against this until we get to the next layer.
Yeah. So. No, I mean, we definitely need to see that. And yeah, the costs, Guardians of the Rift, just unbelievably high. I mean, I think in their, I'm trying to, psychoanalyze what the devs were thinking at that time, but like, it probably was just sheerly the fact that like RC is a massive grind to get over with, and you don't want to just get all the upgrades within the first 5 hours and then be like, all right, now I have, 250 more hours of this. So I think in their heads, they're just thinking like, yeah, a lot of people want to spend a lot of time here because this probably will be the most engaging for people. And there's like very long-term stretch goals. But I'm with you where like the legitimate things that are going to help in that mini game should be given earlier rather than later. And then the big cosmetic things like the, Rift Guardian transmog and everything like that should be the expensive stuff. And then you could even have like just, like the outfit, like those dyes, like all the dyes didn't even need to be a part necessarily of the RNG thing. That could have, again, been one of those really high level purchasing things where it's like, you really want to flex now? Get these cool colors. There's purely cosmetic. There's no actual utility for it. Those are the kind of things that you can make expensive and work toward, Yep. And yeah, the fact that the lanterns don't work outside of the minigame is just so stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah. I'm of the mindset that I think that is something that is very likely to come in this sweep up. I think those might become global. One of the things we brought up last week was like the lantern, the redwood lantern that stops pouches from degrading can become like a global thing, and you don't have to worry about pouches degrading. But like it also kind of gets back to what you were saying earlier about like the average person does not engage at the rune crafting outside of Guardians of the Rift. There are high-level skillers who definitely do, like, maybe ZMI or like whatever the highest level rune crafting method is at the moment. I'm not sure. But the average person, their idea of rune crafting is playing a minigame. It's not training the skill in any way or doing it in any meaningful sort of situation. So,
yeah, it's not good. I had a thought. I've lost it. I'll probably come back to it. But yeah, there's so much work that needs to be done with rune crafting. And actually, this was it. You mentioned something about pouches degrading. If you get a lantern, why the fuck do pouches degrade in the first place? Literally, like, again, we are just doing it because of this 25-year tradition that not 25 years. I guess the rune crafting came out in like 2005, I think. 20 plus year tradition of we're gonna add this masochism, we're gonna add this just torture where let's just say 11 laps you gotta fucking repair your shit again. What the fuck is going on? Like, it's like one of the only skills with that shit. Imagine you're just mining with your dragon pickaxe and every like 30 rocks it breaks. Time to NPC contact for fucking load up for 30 ticks and click through multiple dialogue boxes. This is the kind of shit, again, going back to the autistic sort of skilling community, they will die on these hills of like, no, that needs to be in the game until the end of time. This NPC contact, don't speed it up. Don't you dare speed it up, because then you'll destroy the XP per hour that we've all kind of become accustomed to. It's like, this is terrible game design. It's terrible. Like, literally, just get rid of the goddamn degrading pouches. I will get flamed by skillers in the comments, like dedicated skillers. They're like, this guy has lost the fucking plot. Like, he wants to get rid of degrading pouches. Like, he doesn't want any degradation anymore. Like, literally, I get so much flack for these sort of like progressive views. It's like, dude, this is adding fucking nothing. People were dying on the hill that rune crafting, like crafting at a rune crafting altar, needed to have a 4-tick delay between each craft. A lot of us have forgotten that was ever a thing. Believe it or not, you used to go to an altar and wait 4 ticks before you could craft the next, set of stuff. That was the kind of shit. And people were flipping out over the idea that you could 1-tick it. Like, that's just going to destroy. It's going to destroy the XP rates. And then people would sort of come out with their own excuses of, well, I enjoy waiting there. It kind of, it's a sign of skill expression to know when the delay is up and then click your 2 pouches. And then people were flipping out over like just having a colossal pouch because that was going to destroy a lot of the good parts of rune crafting. I'm like, look, none of it destroyed any of it. In fact, unanimously, everyone fucking loves it. And this is the kind of shit where we need to get out of the stupid mindset that skilling needs to be terrible. It's so upsetting. And again, like, where do we see this with PVM? PVM just doesn't like the guardrails are off.
Hmm.
And we don't have to, like have the new boss like, oh yeah, we should go back to the time where KBD existed, and KBD would just freeze you. Nothing you could do. You just get frozen. You just sit there. And by the way, in that freezing, if you try to eat a food, you can't eat a food in there because it'll actually just extend the delay for the food delay. So in that one period of that period where you're just sat there frozen, you better not eat, because guess what? Eating's also going to extend this even more. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Imagine that was like the kind of like mindset we still had. There's PVM needs to be terrible across the board. Like, keep this kind of shit. It's like, again, I could go on and on and on, but skilling is just in such a terrible spot because we have people advocating nonstop that we need to keep this garbage.
For rune crafting, that one actually surprises me, because I feel like a lot of folks who are doing high level rune crafting skilling, they probably already have a rune crafting cape. So they have maybe even a max cape that allows them to, and that pouches don't degrade, and that's for that. And it's like the only people getting affected here are people who are training to get to 99. And it's like, I don't think those people need to suffer with degrading pouches. That is like, come on, man. Like, if there, I do think that there's two ways of addressing this. Like, one, like straight up just taking it out the game, just like get rid of it. If you want to be a little more thematic, I really like the idea of keeping it on the Abyssal Lantern, making it global, but making the Abyssal Lantern like a very like common drop, or like the first time you get it, like that's it. It's like it's almost like the tablet that you get at Nightmare or at Chambers or something. Like in your first 10 or 15 or 20 KC, you're guaranteed a lantern, and that makes your rune crafting experience across the board better. Could be actually rune crafting at altars, could be doing the Guardians of the Rift minigame, because there's also requirements to using the lantern that fire making. I'm not saying fire making is a hard skill, but like the fact that there's a secondary requirement on top of just the rune crafting, it's like you are already gatekeeping this, right? Yeah. It's just like 90 fire making is high. It is, can you get to it pretty quickly? Yeah, but like think like the average person is like, oh man, I can't wait to use this like quality of life thing, but wait, I need 90 fire making to unlock it. Like, oh,
and 90 wood
God,
cutting
like,
if you want the red wood, if you're an Iron Man.
Yeah,
it's like go
so
have fun
like,
chopping trees for the however long.
Like, I think that is prohibitively that's just not fun. And I feel like a lot of the times, like I know we're around the community a lot, and we see like people who put a lot of time into this game, and we see it from their perspectives. And I think sometimes the devs forget to see it from the perspective of like an average person, or like a regular person who's just like treating this as a game. It's like these types of upgrades should be on the order of hours to me. It's like end game stuff, that's a whole different situation. We are locking into like 100+ hour grind. We know what we're signing up for. But all of these like simple things, quality of life things that will make the average person's life a little better, make rune crafting just a tiny bit more, not engaging, just a little easier, just a little better. Like that should be quick to attain, quick to like pick up and be like, man, I interacted with that mini game for 5 hours. Cool, I got a really cool upgrade. My rune crafting experience all the way to 99 is going to be better because of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fully on board with just, if it was literally just tomorrow, just snap my fingers, tomorrow there's no more pouch degradation, and we just change some of the rewards that the lanterns give, make it way more common. And then the rune crafting cape can get an additional perk, like maybe it could just teleport you to the abyss. Like imagine it literally just teleported you to the middle of the abyss, getting 99 rune crafting, something fucking cool like that. Where it would speed up rune crafting, but like who cares at this point? Everybody's locked in the 200 mil ranks at this point. Like if you wanted to do traditional abyss rune crafting and you would just use your RC cape to teleport right there, it's like, I swear that would break nothing. It would just be fun for those that want to continue RCing. Like that's the extent of it, and it would be exciting for them. Again, that's just
actually like, that's a really cool possibility. Like that would be so cool to think of, just like as from the perspective of an Iron account who's reached that max, that rune crafting cape. Like, oh man, I'm out of blood runes. Let's go craft a couple quick. Boom. I can teleport to the abyss, teleport to get to the blood altar, do an inventory. That sounds awesome.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome. And it already has the perk of acting as a tiara. We forget sometimes that that is a perk that you need. But yeah, there's
No.
a lot of cleanup that needs to be done, and unfortunately, I understand what the devs are up against, which is again a lot of veterans that have very strong feelings for this archaic sort of stuff that's in the game. And like to some degree, I can understand them not trying to just make everything super super standardized, but we need to get to that point, because what we end up seeing as a consequence of how masochistic skilling is, the
Hmm.
consequence of it is the dumbing down constantly and the adding of AFK methods where there is zero engagement in skilling. We keep adding more methods like 7-minute AFK star mining, 5-minute AFK chopping ironwoods. I guess 4 minutes. But it's actually more, in my opinion, ironwoods are something even more busted than star mining, because you can choose when the 4 minutes reset, whereas the star, you could be at the last minute and you are forced to have to have that minute. You can just stand next to two trees and they keep just regenning as you stop chopping them. So and then you have salvaging, which is a goddamn 30-minute AFK, and we're going to continuously just get the dumbing down of everything, which a lot
Yeah.
of people want, and for good reason, because every fucking bit of skilling is terrible, almost across the board. It's just everything is awful to do, and people are stuck in this mindset where it needs to remain awful because it's respectable, because I'm autistic enough to find it enjoyable. It needs to stay that way, and the rest of the community can go get the piss low XP rates at work, and that's end of discussion. Like, it's just awful. We're in such a pickle, for lack of a better term right now. It's just awful, and I want skilling to feel good and have skill
Yeah.
expression, and yeah. Anyway,
No, I totally understand that. Okay, so we've touched on mining, we've touched on agility, touched on rune crafting. You actually did bring up sailing, which I think is a interesting point. I don't want to go too deep into sailing on this. I think
yeah,
like you could spend like 15 different ways to talk about sailing. One thing I do want to ask, you brought this up about the salvaging 30 minutes of AFK, right? I would say that sailing also has a really good XP rates with the Gwyneth glides. Like that is engaging. A lot of people say that they enjoy it. They have fun doing that. And you have the salvaging super AFK option. Now, do you think that is a good thing that it's balanced well right now in terms of the high XP rates of Gwyneth Glide, engaging, fun, active, salvaging 30-minute AFK, but much, much lower XP rates? Is that a good balance, or should it be tweaked even further?
I mean, yeah, I think generally when, especially with the new updates that are coming in, like loot crates coming from career tasks, and just combat getting a nice overhaul where the boards are going to guarantee have certain tasks and stuff. You can actually just engage in that. And then deep sea trawling, I've started engaging with. It's a lot better. The one issue with Barracuda Trials is I really do wish there was some sort of reward attached to it, because what you end up seeing is just no Iron Men basically engaging in Barracuda Trials, except for just unlocking like the crystal extractor or whatever, and that's kind of like the extent of it, because there's just no rewards. And salvaging is offering seeds and herbs and all of this other stuff and it's
Right.
low effort, and you're just getting a bunch of supplies.
All those topazes, man.
Yeah,
How
so
else are
like
you gonna get them?
yeah, and especially now with the nice immaculate
Yeah.
moleskin you attached to your sack. That sounded really weird. But yeah, so but again, from a mains perspective, it's very well balanced. From an Iron Man's perspective, basically no Iron Man wants to engage in Barracuda Trials because there's no rewards, except for those that just wanted to get their max cape back and just like, I just need to get this done as fast as possible. They were the ones
Yep.
that engaged with it. But most irons that are not trying to just get their max cape back, they're not engaging with it. And so if you could at least, at bare minimum, just get like dragon sheets and dragon nails very rarely, not even very rarely, but just like build up a sort of like reward system that just like you get a few points every time you complete a lap or something, or the occasional crate gives you an additional point or something, and then you can just go to the reward shop and just buy sheets or buy nails.
Yeah.
Again, they'd have a high price, but like then I, as an Iron Man, would actually be encouraged to go do it. Like, hell yeah, I want some dragon nails. I'll go here and I'll choose to purchase those from the shop.
That You bring up a really good point. I was thinking about these sailing related, I guess, objects, like dragon nails, dragon sheets,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. Um, I so I think frost dragons are very important because they do drop those important sailing core components, but there's also a lot of other ship upgrades and things like bottled storm and things like that, and random mobs that you have to pick up. I think those are okay as mobs, but getting back to like the nails and things, I find that the drop rates on those feel just so inflated, like so they feel very artificial, like kind of gatekeep you from really
Oh yeah.
enjoying sailing until like you can kill like hundreds and hundreds of hours worth of mobs to like get your every single item to pimp out your sailboat, right? This kind of goes, it's kind of hand in hand with like the mini game and being able to get small upgrades and build up your along the way, making the mini game easier. I consider sailing kind of a mini game, and it's just like for me sailing, I want my sailboat to be fully pimped out by like level 80 something like that and then after that is when you can go out and do stuff. It's like, to me, I think things like the the cannon barrels were 1 in 20,000 from salvaging is
Each. Yeah.
each. You need to like people, you could get to 99 and not have a single one like that, like that.
Easily. That's what happens to most players. They just don't end up getting one.
And that's just I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah,
Like they
terrible.
did add it to veiled krakens. It's a 1 in 1,000 drop, I think now. But even then, I feel like these upgrades to sailing, it is just one cannon barrel, which is for one component of your ship. Think about the other dragon cannon barrel, the other dragon component, the dragon sheets, the dragon nails. Like it feels so artificially long to get an upgrade like that. Like I think something like that should take on the order of hours, like 10 hours maybe, but not like 20, 30, 40, like 30, 40, 50 for a single component to be more useful, like marginally more useful from going from rune to dragon. Like
Yeah.
that's no fun.
Yeah, all the drop rates were totally fucked. They've luckily changed a lot of them across the board. But yeah, I mean, again, just looking at it from trying to complete sailing, and I get it, a lot of this stuff is irrelevant, like the fish heads you get from deep sea trawling. Like you have to spend literally hundreds of hours deep sea trawling to get all the fish heads. It's just like, this is insanity. And then you have like the 1 in 20,000 salvers paint from a mid tier, the mercenary salvage is like the level 73 one. It's like, okay, really 20,000?
Why?
Like, again, like I understand it's just a cosmetic. Nobody needs to go for it. So cool. But why not have just added that, like a 1 in 20,000 to any salvaging? Like you get the salvers paint,
Yeah.
you can just do any bit of salvaging. Yeah, all of the drop rates were totally fucked, and then like one dragon sheet at a 1 in 200 shot at frost dragons. Like on squat cam, my Iron Man that's nearly max now. I'm playing the hardcore mainly right now, but I decided to try to go get a rosewood hull. I ended up getting a rosewood hull, not nowhere near the dragon keel yet. I mean, I don't even think halfway toward the dragon keel. And I got lucky on some large keel parts from some great white sharks and shit. I was hitting like, they had a fucking 1 in 6,000 drop from great white sharks to get like keel parts or large keel parts. I ended up spooning the hell out of them. I got like 2 or 3 of those drops, but it's like, who the fuck came out with 1 in 6,000? Who wants to kill more than like literally a few hundred of these? Genuinely, like it's just out of control. And then, yeah, I think I killed 5,000 frost dragons, and I have max gear, max stats. Shit still took me forever. Imagine somebody that's not maxed to the fucking gills with a dragon hunter lance and everything like locked and loaded. Shit would take them forever. It's just, again, they've basically slashed the drop rate, so it's like 1 in 100 instead of 1 in 200 now for a sheet. But again, yeah, I'm totally on board with you. Why did we go so crazy on these drop tables? They just they feel terrible, and they don't respect players' time whatsoever.
Yeah, that's what feels the worst to me. It's just like people talk about like, yeah, RuneScape, you shouldn't be able to complete RuneScape. You should never be able to do that. It's like, I get it. Like that's fine. You can have hard to obtain challenging goals. In terms of drops like this, there may be a few super rare drops that are, of course, the cloggers are going to go for, but not every single drop has to be like that. It's like you can have a couple, but most should not. Like most people at the end of this, like after doing like a couple months, a month or two, if you're doing just sailing, you should be able to have like a nearly maxed full boat. Like you should have that. Is my sort of viewpoint on this. Like maybe you could stretch that out to maybe a little longer too, whatever you think the right time frame is, or if you want to see it in like an hour's perspective. But like not to the point you have to do like multiple 99s worth of sailing to like get max boat gear and get most of the unlockables. It's just so I don't know. It's right. Like they almost and of course like we talk about like the clogging stuff. There's random. We talked about the paint. It was just a like random 1 in 6,000. I know like the pearls, like a mini game pearl situation. Like that is like I am 90 plus sailing. I have gotten one pearl event ever, and I didn't even know what that was. I'm like, why is this dude looking at me weird? By the time I wikied it, the thing was gone, and I'm like, all right, cool. Now I didn't realize like how important that is because now I have to do it 10 more times. So it's like it's just so frustrating to be like, why is it so super like why is it like this? Like who is it feels disrespectful like to players' time. It's like I understand things do not need to be completed, but you got to make people feel like they can make meaningful progress in this in a reasonable amount of time, and it does not feel like that.
Yeah, and this is one of the problems with just drop rates across the board with PVM is there is just a plethora of content these days. There is so goddamn much content these days, and I feel like a lot of these new updates are being designed for the people that already have everything. Like literally it's being designed for those end game cloggers that are just begging for anything to like, you know, get some dopamine. Like that's the kind of people we're appeasing. And I'm like, okay, again, like when we're seeing drop rates just be out of control, you do understand there's just so much. And again, like this kind of ties into PVM where we just see these unbelievably just stupid drop rates. And you know, I always talk about Chambers and Nightmare for these exactly, but like again, like we're gonna hit raids 4, we're gonna have raids 5, we're gonna have raid 6. Why the hell are we so set on like hundreds and hundreds of hours for a PVM drop? It's like, and then Nightmare is just out of control. We're like, this armor is already useless. It's already useless, and we're still to the end of time just gonna keep this shit super goddamn rare. I understand. You know, I've talked to JMods. I just had Mod Goblin on. That episode hasn't been published yet, but like he just talks about it. It's like, yeah, they try to carefully balance things. They don't want to devalue people's time and stuff. But I'm like, for the greater health of the game, first of all, you've already made crazy adjustments to Nightmare's drop table. Has literally anybody once complained about that? About you drastically like shaving off an entire phase of the fight? First of all, just introducing Vasanis, that was instantly like a 30% increase on all drops. And then you make the drops go from like 1 in 167 to 1 in 115 or whatever they are now, 1 in 113 or whatever. That's a crazy thing. Did anyone ever outrage about that? No. Everyone's just like, thank you. Thank God. And then they shave a phase. Was there literally any outcry at all? Zero. Zero people ever have a complaint with that. They're not... You know, you would imagine that the fear mongering is that you're going to destroy the economy. The economy is going to suffer. I'm like, literally, there was not one singular post about somebody flipping the fuck out about the economy. You know, meconomy. But it's like, dude, the same thing needs to apply to Chambers. I mean, Chambers drop rates. I know I'm just like totally shanghaiing you into this other conversation, but
no, I love this. I'm a Chambers drop rate hater. I like that.
Fucking hate it. Like it's terrible.
Like, you know how I know it's just a very quick tangent. You know how Shawnee used to have like the thing is like add like chivalry to one def, people like that. I remember seeing his handle all over Twitter all the time. I didn't know him very well, but I always saw that, and it made me giggle. That like if that is the way I feel about myself sometimes. Like maybe on Twitter I should just change my handle and be like Chambers, like change Chambers drop rates. Like that is how heavily I feel that this like I oh my god, I can go on forever, but like
Please.
This to me
I'm here for it.
Oh dude, seriously, I talked to T Pop about this for I think like 40 something minutes, so I'll give you like my quick spiel on here, right?
I mean I heard it as well, but yeah, continue for those that haven't heard it as well.
I don't want to bore you.
You can give the briefing as well. I mean I haven't memorized it, but you can give the brief rundown.
I got you. I think in 2017 when Chambers came out, Raids 1, I think when that was end game absolute last thing you did, and that is the thing you did over and over and over again, fine. It's good to have that many items, super rare, 3 megas. You're working towards it, great. Less than a year later, TOB came out. And then over the years, so many bosses have come out, so many gear upgrades.
It was a year and a half later. Just to
year
yeah, because
okay.
It was January 2017 and then June 2018.
June 2018. Okay, I got my timelines mixed up. Yeah. So, thank you. Thanks for the correction.
Inferno came out less than a year after Chambers, to be fair. But
that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, my fault. But it's crazy that in the span they dropped Chambers, Inferno, TOB like that.
Yeah, crazy.
That in itself is insane. Still some of the most iconic, PVM stuff. But since then, so many new upgrades have come out, and new bosses have come out, new drops, a new raid has come out, TOA, and it's just there's so much gear to grind and get through that looking back now, Chambers having hundreds of hours being sunk into a single piece of content, potentially not even being one step closer to finishing it, it's tough, especially when some of those pieces are so useful for any downstream PVM. I'm thinking, of course, Tebow, right? Tebow is great in so many places still, and spending hundreds of hours and that in itself would unlock higher levels of efficiency for you in terms of PVM and your higher DPS. But also Ancestral, the best in slot magic robes are gated behind this. There are a lot of irons, a lot of folks who are stuck with one piece, 2 pieces, and they never were able to finish it and unlock that final piece of damage, because it's just you're stuck behind a multiple 100-hour grind to finish Chambers. But that's kind of my spiel. I think it's in a bad spot because of the time, where it is now. Back in 2017, it might have been fine as if Chambers was all you're doing, but nowadays, because you have 3 raids to do, you have so many bosses to do,
and about to be 4.
It is about to be 4. Yeah, at the end of this year, it's going to be 4. There's no reason why a sane person would start a new account and look at that and be like, yeah, you know what? Let me dump hundreds of hours into Chambers so I can potentially unlock multiple hundreds of hours of content to do downstream of that.
Yeah. I'm totally with you, and that's the exact reason we had one raid. They dumped it all on there. Here it is. We just spent years designing this shit. We're not going to have you complete it in a fucking month. We're going to have you all suffer, pretty much. And yeah, I mean, this is my philosophy. It's changed over the years, the amount of hours, and it's because of just how much content there is in the game. But in my view, any gear upgrade, so anything that is increasing power in your arsenal of gear, no singular item should ever be more than 150 efficient hours to grind. That's my personal take, because we have so much goddamn items in the game now. It's nothing should ever, the rarest stuff should never be more than 150 efficient hours. Yes, you can be a giga noob, not have the DPS, and still can take you 300 hours or whatnot, but efficiently, nothing should be more than that, in my opinion. And, people can disagree with that, but what we can all agree on is there is clearly a certain amount of hours that would be inappropriate. So decide, for those listening, if you disagree with me, what would be the appropriate amount of hours? 2,000? I'm making an extreme case right here, but what is it? What should be the max amount of hours that a singular item that's going to increase your DPS should be? I'm totally for Third Age, pets being fucking giga rare, jars, any sort of useless stuff. Make it as rare as you want. I was actually one of those people that was fine with the 1 in 2,500 jar of darkness, because it just doesn't mean anything. It has literally 0 use, and it's just a trophy thing. Who cares? And I'm also a believer that the collection log is a collection log, not a completion log. So you can add whatever the goddamn hell you want that's just cosmetic or useless. Go for it.
Right.
But as soon as it comes to as soon as it comes to legitimate upgrades, we need to find the appropriate amount of hours. And in my view, and again, it's because we have so much content and continuously get more and more and more content, we need to have reasonable hour grinds for this. And the J mods are right. Mod Arcane always talks about come out with more content with fewer drops on the table, because that means you can actually make the drops reasonable. If Chambers only had 3 drops on it or something, or 4 drops, all of the drop rates would be a lot more tame and a lot more reasonable to obtain, because right now it's you're hunting 12 things, and it's You don't want to make it feel like you're getting an item every 5 hours and then to get 12 items, on average 60 hours or whatever. It's like, not on average, but that would be the equivalent or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
so they're in this weird spot where I get it, but yeah, that's my.
I ended up doing some math because I like doing math in my spare time to remind me how much Chambers sucks. But I think the fact that there's 12 items is what is hurting it significantly, and its rarity, right? Of course, there's like scrolls being super highly weighted. Everyone is, of course, rightfully, I think, annoyed by that as well. But in terms of what I saw as, I'll throw these numbers I found. I ran some simulations and found that the probability of getting 12 out of 12 items requires the 50% mark is 70 purples. 70 purples, not raids or anything, but 70 purples. That's a 50% mark. And now I extrapolated that by doing like, I took that one step further by thinking, say I'm only doing solo raids, just a regular, normal, unscaled solo raids. Points per raid, I'm just gonna say like was roughly like 30K, like 30 to 33K was the ballpark.
Yeah, and that's a good number to suggest too, because occasionally you die and lose 40% of your points. Boom. So like you can account for that with 30K just to keep it simple.
I'll just say 30K. So like per purple, that takes you to the numbers come out and say that it will take you 29 raids per purple on average. So 70 purples, 29 raids means you are doing roughly 2,000. So if I'm doing the math correctly, let me check myself. 29 times 30 is 29 times 70, sorry, is 2030. Exactly. I did my envelope calculation was correct. 2,000 regular solo raids to be at the 50% mark. Not even unlucky. It is 50% mark is 2,000 solo raids. Yep. Now, take that even further. There are going to be people who go dry. There's going to be the people who fall in the bottom 10%. So I figured out the 90% mark as well. You need 123 purples. 90% of people are going to have 12 out of 12 at 123 purples. That is roughly 3,500 solo chambers.
And then think about it this way, think about, let's just say 2,000. Let's just say 2,000 raids. You're one of those lucky, the lucky half that just gets all the stuff.
Lucky to do 2,000, yeah.
Then you have to consider, how long has this taken you? Let's just say, and again, a lot of these people don't have the best in slot gear. They don't have a Tebow grinding this shit. So you're not running the most perfect raids. You don't have all the tech and the gear yet. So let's be very generous and say you are in and out of a raid, like literally completing a raid every 25 minutes. Like, again, that is like when you're out, you waste no fucking time. You get right back in and it's 25 minutes across the board.
Yeah.
Again, you can go faster. Again, if you have like super giga crack gear and you're trying and you have people scouting for you and shit and you got all this nice stuff going for you. Yeah, maybe you could say like 18 minutes in and out, like, and you're just kitted to the fucking gills and you know what you're doing. But for the average player, they're not. Let's just say 25 minutes. Like 25 minutes times roughly 2,000. You're looking at over 850 hours. I'm just doing some mental math right now. Like this is actually, no, I think it's about like 830 hours or something. But like 832 hours looks like. Yeah.
Okay.
Roughly. But if you're saying 2030 raids, I guess it'd be closer to 850. But like you're looking at
800 plus hours just to be at the 50% mark. That's
just like so stupid, man.
Like, yeah, you can argue like right now there's the meta is to do like scaled raids, so like your points per hour
which is another whole can of worms we could open up.
Oh my god,
it's so confusing. Like everything is,
I think this needs to be designed for the average person, right?
It does.
This does not be designed like I hate how so much is based around like, oh, these people are gonna abuse it, so we're gonna have to make this shitty for everybody. It's just like
totally right.
It's challenging. There are a lot of different ways to tackle chambers. As we can spend a whole hour on that, but I think it's just important to acknowledge that chambers is in a not good spot the way it is because of all the things that we mentioned earlier.
Yep.
I did want to ask one question about chambers, just to keep it short. If there is a summer sweep up change that you could see coming for chambers, that would be quick, easy to implement, not something significantly time intensive. What do you think that would be for this coming summer sweep up?
Well, it would just all be drop rate related. That would be the quickest solution that doesn't have any actual mechanic changes or anything. So drop rates wise, if we wanted to keep it the very simplest, just double the drop rates across the board. Now, if we wanted to have more nuance to it, it would be literally just make scrolls an untradeable drop. I don't know how you would, sort of go about reimbursing people that have a bunch of scrolls in their bank that they're merching or whatever. That would be a whole nother thing that they'd have to deal with. But literally, I mean, it would be just get rid of all the goddamn scrolls. Just get rid of them. Maybe you can have Jagex again, just reimbursing people like, hey, like you have these scrolls. We're aware of what's happening. Anybody that's holding, like they could just not even warn anybody, and anybody that's holding any or any that's in the grand exchange offer, they just like reimburse them some money and just some extra cash comes flooding into the game or some shit. I don't know how that would be, but in my perfect world, it would be, these are all untradeable drops, similar to like, actually, I'm not even sure. The Royal Titans prayers are untradeable, correct? Or are
Pretty
they not?
sure, yeah. You have to unlock them yourself. I think so.
I think so too.
I think so.
It would be a quick Google search, but I'm not willing to do it.
No, I also don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look. No, I'll do it. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure
like
I'm pretty sure they're untradeable. So I just want all these sorts of like prayer things to be untradeable. That would be my ideal world. Okay. So just make it so, you're going for these prayer drops. It's a 1 in 50 drop, similar to Vorkath. And at 50 raids, at 50 raid completions, you guarantee get them. Something like that, where, again, 50 fucking raids is still like 25 hours, especially if you're a giga noob and you're running hour-long raids. This is going to take 50 hours to get. Like, these are... So, and they have hefty requirements, you got to get 74 prayer. That's hefty,
Yeah.
So in my view, it would just be, and it could even be a 1 in 100. So you could spoon it early, but guaranteed at a certain threshold, whatever that is, 50 or 100, you guarantee get it. I like that sort of guarantee with any sort of untradables. And then from there on out, look at the purples and whatever their weighting is right now, just make it so CMs have a higher weighting for the rare stuff. So CMs just have a nicer sort of, whatever the term is, I can't even think of it right now. Just everything that's rare becomes a little bit more common. And then there's just no prayer scrolls that you're getting anymore. So every single purple actually feels like you've got something. You got an item,
right?
And double the drop rates across the board. Make everything literally half the time it takes. In my ideal world, that's like a very simple fix. Jagex has full control over the goddamn market. They can manipulate prices. They can get rid of T-bows in the game. They have that option. They really do. Like the Grand Exchange has items where Jagex has full control over syncing whatever the hell they want to artificially make a price a certain price. People have this obsession with T-bow. If the T-bow ever drops below a bill or something terribly wrong, listen, the harmonized staff used to be 3 bill. Then it was camped at like 1.8 bill. Fuck, the thing's in the shitter now. Like literally nobody gives a fuck. And we need to stop giving fucks about items and having these emotional attachments to certain price tags that things have on it. If the prices drop, people won't do chambers as much, and then the price will rebound back because another raid will be better. It's like, this is just supply and demand. This is basic economics. And for the health of the goddamn game, we need to get these drop rates into a better position. So get rid of 2 of the drops, make those untradeable. So now there's only 10 you're going for. Double the drop rates across the board. So now a T-bow's not 400 hours for the average person. It's only 200 hours for the average person. And the average raid completion drops from like 2,000 to like 1,000 raids. And we're entering, we're going to have raids 4. And again, I know some people are just going to be really butthurt about this. And it's usually the people that, are economically tied to it or just feel this sense of like, I did it the hard way and nobody else should get it. It's like, dude, we got to stop with that. If we were to snap our fingers, I truly believe that nearly everybody would have a much better time grinding chambers knowing they're getting more purples. They're just getting more purples. There's no more bullshit prayer scrolls. And that would be so fun. You're just seeing more purple. Everyone wants to see purples. Purples is the best feeling in the goddamn game. Like, stop it
the
with
disappointment that someone has when they get a purple, like, oh man, and then it's like they see Dex or Arcane. It's just like,
dude, the amount of times
sigh.
The amount of times I'm watching a live stream and I'm seeing the end of a raid, it's every fucking time it's a white light. Every fucking time it's a white light. I never see a purple live. Ever. I only see the clips of it afterward. It's like I never see live a purple. Ever. They're so fucking rare. I swear to God. We just need to clean up that place, make it a lot more rare. And it's raids 1. We're gonna get to raids 5 and raid 6 in the future. Are we gonna
Right.
like? Are we just gonna until the end of time like never touch this? Like we gotta touch this at some point. Rip the band-aid off.
No, I totally agree. I think Chambers they have to do something about this. I feel like people like Jagex will be like, oh, that is too drastic, but there's no way we'd ever double it or things like that. But there has to be something, like some move in that direction. I do like the idea, for example, like a Tebow, like how you said like 150 efficient hours should be your cap for a rare item. I like that. I wish Jagex would kind of balance around that. 150 efficient hours, exactly. And if you think about like all the folks who are grinding for that, they're not using a Tebow to grind for a Tebow. So like it'll obviously be longer than that. It's just respectful to kind of people's time. You realize at the grand scheme of things, it is a game.
It's a video game.
People are choosing to have.
Yes.
Yeah, like there's more to life than playing this game and getting drops. It's like as much as we love doing that and playing a lot of it, but like someone's life should not be tied to that.
And
so it's
you brought up a great point. It's a video game, and there are legitimately so many examples, especially as more time goes on. There are people that camp one piece of content in a video game for more than 2 years. Like 2 legitimate years of your life are shaved off hunting a goddamn pixel item. It's a fucking video game. There's so many people that flip the fuck out over like any sort of drop, the drop rate increase. And I'm like, dude, you understand you have just been indoctrinated by some dev back in 2017's decision to make a certain drop rate. Now it's gospel. It's fucking gospel to people. It's like, never change it. It was perfect. It's fucking perfect. Never change it or I'll get butthurt. It's like, dude, it's a goddamn pixel video game, medieval point and click game. When we look back at the history of RuneScape, you know what a drop rate of rare items were? A 1 in 512 for a whip. You kill a fucking Abbey demon in less than a minute. A D chain was 1 in 128. KQ has a total of 500 HP. There's no multiple boss rooms and shit. No, it's just you just fucking kill the boss and you get the goddamn drop. For some reason, I don't know what happened. I think it literally was the Chambers introduction where everybody was like, yeah, 500 hours. Woohoo! Like, let's fucking go. 500 hours. That's great.
Dude,
it's terrible.
No, that's so true, right? It's just like it's just there's only going to be more and more content coming into the game. And especially these important items. I feel like kind of segueing into my next piece and tangential this is like so much of the game is balanced around having max gear. Jagex's blogs are always like, you have max gear to do this. This is the efficient thing. This is what we expect rates to be. This is what's happening. And there are like, if you put the time in, I expect you to be able to get to max gear, but a reasonable amount of time. A lot of folks, for example, are getting gated at Chambers because they can't get the max, they can't get the Tebow, they can't get the ancestral pieces, right? At least the other raids are way more attainable in terms of time to completion. And like I'm also gonna throw another wrench in here. Things like the imbued heart. Like people are like, oh, look at all this magic stuff you're thinking about and doing. It's just like, well, magic is balanced around having a plus 13 saturated heart boost all the time. It's like, who like what? Like most irons don't have that. Like what are you balancing this around? It's like, what? Do you not forget that there's all these other people? Only a fraction of people do have this item, and you're balancing against that. It's just frustrating because you hear all these XP rates and like theoretical things. You're like, dude, you're not taking into account like an average person. Like you're talking efficient hours, but like now change that into normal person hours, like 1.5 exit, 2 exit, like, and then you take all the hours into account. It's like people don't have that amount of time in their life to dedicate to a pixel game. It's like a game is meant to be enjoyed, and you're meant to make incremental progress and get that dopamine. But at some point, like because of these drop rates, because of the thing, it's like it's not even attainable, and it's just like what, like you're just kind of chaining people to this game and being like, yes, keep grinding it, right? Keep going, and it's just I hate that viewpoint. I really, really don't like that. I know there are a lot of people out there who are like, drop rates are fine. Like you don't need every item in the game. You should just be playing and trying to get it at your own pace or whatever. That's their point. I'm like,
it's insane. Like, why not can't a game in any video game ever you expect you to be able to get an item. Put the time in, get the item. There are literally items like a Tebow that just people never get. There will be that person that goes 7 times the rate of a Tebow. It takes them, 7,000 chambers, and they still don't have it. And people are like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You should not get this item. It's taken you, 4,000 hours of your real life to spend and over, half a decade. And you've been grinding it 6 hours a day, every day. You still don't have it. It's like, yeah, that's appropriate. It's like, no, it's fucking not, dude. Like, this is terrible. This is and look at the beginning of Old School. The same game, the very same game we're playing right now. What was the rarest thing in the game that was like gear? Literally, it was, and God Wars wasn't even out yet. But let's even say post God Wars. Like the God Wars is like a Zammy spear was your best in slot, 1 in 128 from Zammy. Bandos Tassets, 1 in 383 or whatever it is. It's like efficiently to grind out a pair of Bandos Tassets, specifically an item. An efficient player now can get like literally the amount of efficient hours to get that item is under 30. It's literally under 30 hours to get. Like these are the kinds of drop rates that are appropriate. Again, like
and these are, remember, efficient hours. You keep saying that, right? It's just like I really want to harp on the word efficient hours or words efficient hours because like most people are not going in with that gear. It doesn't iron. You're walking in with like the D chain that you spooned and the rune legs and you're getting 1 KC Bandos Trevs praying for that one drop. It's like I remember that. And everything felt like, yeah, these drop rates are hard. Like, it'll take me a while to get the KCs, but it felt attainable, right? Even though I'm putting in like 10, 20, 30 hours at Bandos, it's like, yeah, this is not efficient, but like I'm getting in there. I'm having fun. I'm grinding to an item that I know I can reasonably get.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel that way with something like a Tebow. Like, I understand a Tebow is a mega rare, but that does not mean it should be that like exponentially unreachable. It should still be within the realm of possibility within a reasonable time frame. Now, that word reasonable can like mean a lot of things, but I think based on how you defined it, like I like that ballpark, like that in a low 100, 200 maybe hours.
As the rarest items. As the rarest item. Like most items never need to even get close to that threshold. We have so many pieces of content in this game and it continuously gets added. So again, we need to stop catering to the giga kitted out players that are everywhere in the game now. There's a ton of them, and people are just begging for the next piece of content, and they get fucking butthurt when they complete it early. Like, oh, Jagex with the fucking noob rates, It's like, dude, you have one thing to chase. Everybody else has 3,000 items to go for, and they're all fucking 700 hours to grind. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but it's like, dude, this is just obscene. It's literally obscene, and we're catering to those players that play 18 hours a day, daily. Their job is to either play the game or they just don't have a job. And again, they're just begging for the next raid to come out, and then they love that gatekeep feeling that like this should be an insane amount of hours and it's going to benefit me because it's the only content I'm even going to grind. It's the only content I even have available to do now because everything else is completed. It's like we gotta stop with that.
I would definitely caveat this. Like, this is not everybody in that high level, like, quote unquote Giga Sweat community. It is a fraction of those loud people, right? It is like there are a lot of people who have gotten to end game, who have finished a lot of gear and have reached progression, and who are outspoken about things being reasonable time, but to them they're more like, I'd say, looking for like that challenge. Like, we want raids to be like very exponentially super high, super challenging, which that I'm totally fine with. I know you and I are focused specifically on drop rates. There's some folks who are really tied, as you mentioned, economically, and be like, I want this to be the best money maker. Like, nobody else should be able to do it. Since I'm the only one who can do it, I should be able to make the most money. Like that is the part that we don't like. The people who just want something challenging, who want Jags to put out content that makes them, that is new, that is refreshing, like that is separate from the, like, of course, the first couple of days you'll make a lot of money if you get a purple and things, but like, it's those loud, that loud minority of people who want to keep things at a, like, 5,000 chambers for that unlucky guy, shrug, is what it is. He's just been better. It's like, that is, I don't think, acceptable.
Yeah, and I'm on board with you about difficulty. I do think, like Raids 4, for example, I really do want to be I want it to be a gear check. I don't want people rolling up with a Addy crossbow with ruby bolts and being able to pull purples. Like for example,
Yeah.
TOB, the whole drop system of TOB is so fucked. It makes zero sense. The fact that it's all just like every room is just decided. Have you done any bit of damage here? All right, you get your point. MVP,
Yeah.
you get 2 points. It's like, okay, I did 10 damage. I just rolled up here. It's like the fair way to make content is the way they did Chambers, where it's like it's all the bit of DPS you get
Contribution
as
based.
points. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's DPS based contribution, not just be in the room. So that's the way forward. And Raids 4, I want it to be very difficult. I want it to have some crazy gear checks where it's like you gotta have the previous, mega rares and stuff to engage with. One of the things I didn't like was, and again, like this affects me because I'm playing new accounts and I'm okay being locked out of Raids 4 as long as it has appropriate drop rates. If the mega rare from Raids 4 was 100 hours efficiently, but you basically need a Scythe and a T-Bow to get involved in this because you need to do DPS because these bosses are going to be fucking punishing you over and over. I would be totally on board with that because one of the things we see is a lot of like just skipping of content, and TOA had an issue where you're dropping all the new bested slots, all of them. Like, and guess what? Every noob can go in there and just rock in and just cater it and baby it down and stuff and still get a chance of a shadow and everything else. It's like, okay, you can do this with a mid-game piece of content where they're not the best in slot upgrades. Have some cool upgrades, but not best in slot. And then that's appropriate. But when you're talking about the new best in slot raid, I'm okay with the difficulty and I'm okay with the gear checking. But don't make the items 400 hours to get. That's stupid. Like, just make it reasonable to get, but it's a gear check to get involved in the first place. So then you're still, benefiting those endgame players that want to pull purples and get those items and stuff. And it is difficult, and they do feel that sense of like the noobs are being gate kept out. But that's how it should be for a raid ultimately. And
I actually agree with that very much. The raid, like a raid is a raid. It is end game content. Like I like, there's differing schools of thought on accessibility. People talk how TOB was extremely like tough to, like, completely inaccessible for a new person to get in there, which I understand. Like, it's not easy, especially if you don't have like a group or a clan to take you.
And it was gear checked as well. Like that was a gear checked raid. That was a very brilliantly designed raid. But I understand Jagex's position that they want to make money, and the way they make money is getting people to play their actual content that they just spent a year or two developing.
Right.
So.
It's like I kind of like the idea of being able to get noobs in there to do raids, or just like get in there early and start doing stuff. But I don't even like the idea of giving them drops like at all. Like the purple chance to be like one in a, like, this is where the 1 in 20,000 should pop up here. It's like there should be a Reddit post to be like, I got a Masori body on a 150. That should be like a Reddit post. People are like, oh my god, that's crazy. Like, I think the purple curve should be significantly lowered at the front end. Be like, people can access this, they can get cool rewards from it in terms of the supply drops and things like that. Like, that'll be great. Like, they can and learn the raid at an easy level. But once they unlock a certain tier, I think 300 should be the base. Like, you should not be able to get purples under 300. Like, expert modes are where you should be. Like, the only place where purples start coming into play, and then you play with the invocation level. Yes, you get even higher purple chance. But that hard cutoff, that like makes that thing that makes people feel like you are, quote unquote gatekeeping, or have people work towards, like, I want people to be like, I can work towards getting a 300. Now I can finally unlock getting purples. Because right now you can put people at 150s, which are just like pretty brain off, not very challenging, and people that can pull purples. The rate is now nowhere near as high as 300s, but still not at a rate where it, I think, pushes people to want to get to 300 even faster. Because they want purples, they'll want to go to 300, but it's just like they can kind of lollygag their way there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and that's just the problem with invocations entirely. Like, I'm not against invocations. I'm against invocations with end game content. So have the invocations for something like a mid game raid if they ever wanted to introduce that. Cool, have it scale however you want, but not release the best in slots. This is why, by the way, because of the accessibility of the latest raid, all the prices are in the shitter, like except for the shadow. It's like
Right.
light bearer is like a mil. It's like it's one of the
Yeah.
most OP rings in the game, and it's like if this raid had been one set difficulty and required, I don't know. And again, this is a hot take, but it's just we can have accessible content. That's fine, but not as the raid. Like the raid should be the shining object that you want to go for. Like if Raids 4 had a gear check of a scythe, pretty much, where you feel like, okay, I got to go do Raids 2 first before I start getting involved in Raids 4, because you have to deal so much damage and quickly, because maybe literally it's just a sort of like a time check. It's like this boss is going to continually rail you down, and you can't just have a whip. Your whip's not going to cut it. And again, I don't know how the hell you design that without making it feel terrible with so much chip damage and stuff, but like, it's like there should be those sorts of gear checks though. And I think going forward, I love what they're doing with Raids 4. There's no invocation system. There's no scaling it however you want it. It's just like, this is the difficulty. And then there's the practice rooms if you want, which is really cool. I like the idea of practicing, because we're going to get practice stuff in anyway with simulations and stuff. So just add it to the main game. That's totally cool. But yeah, I'm just on, I want stuff to feel difficult, and just that last point I want to just re-hit on was difficult, but the drop rates are very reasonable because of the difficulty. Meaning, as soon as you do have the gear check for it, like you can actually pull the Raids 4 items relatively quickly because it's fucking difficult.
Yeah, it's I really the thing I love about TOB is that people argue about like replayability here, right? The Theater of Blood is people do it over and over to this day to like speed run it, to get better at it. There's strategies out there constantly evolving still now. Like, and it's less so about the drops. I know some people's arguments are that like the drops are going to get devalued if the drop rate is too high, and most people can complete it. What's the point? People are not going to be doing it. My argument there is that look at the Theater of Blood. People are going back and doing that with 2,000, 3,000 KC because it is just such a fun, replayable raid. If Raids 4 is like that, that accessibility or reasonable drop rate should not have an effect on people who are enjoying the raid for fun, who are trying to get better at it, who are going to go for speed runs, who are going for world records. Like, that will still have its own thing, completely separate, and can be detached from the idea of a reasonable drop rate.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, literally just this is not a great comparison, but think of the Inferno. The Inferno is like an hour grind for the best in slot cape. That's it. It's an hour. But guess what? The fucking difficulty is sky high, and there is a gear check. You can't just roll in there with your. I mean, some very, 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 very talented people can roll in there with a rune crossbow and stuff, and just get it done at a very low combat, 70 range or whatever. That's insane, and that's cool to have as an option, but most people wait until Bofa. Most people, and that's a huge gear check already. But ultimately, the item's super easy to get. You just get it, And so Raids 4, I would love to see items being very, hours-wise, pretty tame. But, man, you got to get kitted up with at least, like, a scythe and... Like, I would love a raid where it's like, if you don't have a scythe, you're not completing this. Like, really. Like, yeah, you can maybe be carried if everybody else has a scythe, but, like, you got to have crazy DPS for this fight, and you got to know what DPS means. You can't be losing ticks and stuff. That's the kind of difficulty I really want. People that understand what they're going for. And then the items are super, super rare because it's a small subsection of players that are raking them in, That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I like that. My only thing there, which I would, as a personal thing, be like, you have to have a scythe. Come on, man. It's like, I don't have any megas, dude. Come on, can we?
Yeah, but that's
Blade's okay.
But again, it's like how cool would it be if you pulled the scythe and then you are, and again, it's not a absolute must, but I want that to maybe even
I want to be like a heavy gear, like heavy gear check. I'm totally on board with you there. I'm not like it's like. You can't walk in with 5 whips and call it a day. Like, that's not acceptable. Like, you would want to have like multiple sites, like, in order to complete it. Like, it's like that one I totally understand. Like, I do want like a heavy requirement check, and the flow of items into the game restricted purely by like skill. Like, if you are skilled enough to do this raid, You can get the items, you can make bank. If you are not skilled, it's just one of those things that you'll never get to. And that's what I think TOB was for kind of a long time. It's like in for like a span of many years, TOB was very inaccessible for most folks. They were just not, it was a hard raid. It was hard to learn. There was like impossible to get into, and the folks that who were able to do it were able to printed out sites and whatever other, sang and rapiers, and like those are all actually worth some. Avernix were like 80 to 100 mil, like 100 mil plus at some point. It's just like even the rarest drop, people are just like, oh yeah, whatever. Like even the most common drop, they're like, cool, it's a purple, it's worthwhile, I can sell it for a lot of money. So like I really like this idea that you put out there of restricting it based on skill.
Let me also just I'm saying this, I think part of it's just tying into a conversation I just had with Theory-Wise, where he was concerned that we're never going to be able to start having weapons competing with these mega rares or out competing them. And I think that's, to be fair, I don't think Raids 4 necessarily needs to be the place where you must have a scythe or anything. But if we're ever going to have a raid where, Raid 6, for example, or whatever comes out, where there's now something better than a scythe, that's where the prerequisite of a scythe should be. Because what you don't want is, I'm just going to skip Raids 2 and go get this new best in slot thing. Like it should almost like, if you're going to start now introducing better weapons, you should almost have the gear check of the lesser of it. You know what I mean? So that there's still reason
that's
to go.
That's the fun part of the game, right? Exactly. You want to be able to touch on everything. This is why, kind of segueing here, like, or I guess it's like, I actually don't. I like Yama as a boss, but I do not like how it bypassed so much of like the classic Iron experience of going to Bandos and doing your 1KC tent whip kills and getting your first tacits and going crazy. And then one day you become a big boy and go to Nex and get your upgrades. And you're like, I finally got here through like a massive, like low level Bandos. And then I grew up, did all this content, became good at the game, started doing Nex because I had the gear to do it, and finally got Torva. It is like a progression. There's growth there. Yama Oathplate to me is just like, you just threw all of that away. You just get your Synapse, you get your Emberlight, you get your Purging Staff, and you're just like, well, I'm gonna go unlock the best in slot gear, and you bypass the entirety of God Wars and just progression's lost. And that made me so sad, like seeing that, because Yama, awesome boss, but like I understand you should be able to diverge and try different things, and there are different paths to the end of the game, but you just subverted like an entire arc, the entire God Wars dungeon arc for an early game account. And that I don't like to see that getting lost.
And that's actually, I want to touch on that. That's a big reason why I've been advocating so heavily lately to make some God Wars dungeon changes. It's because of things like Yama. So like originally, when God Wars is a, crucial step in an Iron Man's progression, fine, have it be difficult and have it be sort of gate-kept by all these nuisances. But these days, it's like God Wars dungeons is something like people just entirely skip for the most part until very end game. Like after you pull your Masori, okay, I'll go get Arma done now because I want to get the fortified version of it.
Right.
Yeah, we need to do something with God Wars to make it more of a option, because there's Yama. Who the hell wants to go and grind out Bandos now? If you can just go get Oathplate, that's better, So you got to clean up God Wars and make it a lot more accessible. I mean, one of those just is Saradomin. Like I really would love to on my hardcore grind out Saradomin early because an SGS is sick. But it's like, dude, okay, I either go deep multi-wildy to get ecumenical keys, or I kill 40 goddamn wizards with 200 HP to enter the room once. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And then if you die or, anything, it's like you just lose the KC. Like, for example, you go kill Sarah a bunch. In the room, you're gaining KC. And then you teleport after a trip and all the KC's lost. Like, what the hell? Why not keep the KC? Why not have that KC remain, Like, this is the kind of fixes I want. So God Wars is in a healthier place, in a better place.
I would actually love to see those small changes introduced to God Wars. Just in terms of QOL stuff, being able to sort of save or store your charges or your essence, whatever it is down there, would be awesome. And also kind of like how the ancient bosses there, or not the bosses, the mobs there, like the wizard and I forget what the
Blood Reaver.
Reavers. Yeah, it's like they give multiple points.
Yeah.
It's not just like a single point. Like, why not refresh that for the rest of God Wars? My only, like, I think that helps a lot. The only downside is it doesn't make it any more desirable for an iron to skip Yama to go there. It's like it makes a little bit of quality of life increase, but I don't think it is enough to incentivize folks to be like, oh, okay, you know what? I don't need to go to Yama. I could just go do Bandos instead as like a quick stopgap. I think there are much bigger things to consider if you want to make God of War's dungeon like a reasonable option compared to something like Yama, or being able to upgrade your range gear. It's like you just stick with Blessed D'hide forever until you get Masori, and then you're like, okay, I'll go do Arma because it's such a pain in the butt to grind out.
One of the things they could do, honestly, again, might be a hot take, is just drastically reduce Grardor's defense. It's absurd. It's just in the shittiest spot. Nobody likes to kill. I mean, imagine Yama was just cranked up in defense. You're just hitting 0 after 0 after 0. It's just not fun.
It's like the thing with this God Wars dungeons bosses right now is that like there is nobody does them normally, right? The Bandos method is to kite it like 5-0, 6-0, whatever. Zami is the same thing. You stand there and use a Scorching Bow on it. Sarah, you run around in circles bowing it, right? So it's like there's no active gameplay. Oh, it is active, but like it is not the intended method of like going there and actually fighting a boss. Like a Yama fight, you were going in there and fighting it and doing it as expected. When Bandos was released, nobody was like, oh, someone's going to run around a room in crystal armor and 6-0 this guy, or 9-0, whatever the meta is, right? Like no one thought that's going to happen. But that is what it is.
Let me get your take on this. So I don't know whether I agree with this, but I want to vocalize it. You know how Yama is duoable for irons? Just roll in with a main, and get your armor. What if God Wars became duoable for irons? Or even, like, again, this is something where instinctively I'm already like, no. But at the same time, if you want to make it accessible and make it more of like an appealing option, this is the only reason I'm suggesting it. Because I do think ultimately it probably would be a downside, which is why I just prefer the bosses to be, again, Grardor, just his defense toned back. But like, it'd be kind of interesting if everything was sort of Yama-ized in God Wars, where you just roll up with another player. It's like a duo for irons, So it's like you just go in there with one of your iron buddies. But yeah, that wouldn't feel right.
The idea of it, in theory, like Yama is cool. I like that. And also being like contribution based. If you did half the damage, you get half, chance roll. If you do 10% of damage, you only get 10% chance. I like that. However, just due to the unpopularity of these bosses, it's not like, at least with Yama, there's like Yama FFA worlds, like you could pull up and there's always people willing to do Yama with. I do not think anything like that would ever exist for God Wars. So what's going to end up happening is people are going to either boost for KC.
That's true.
Or people are going to just get a main account that stands in the corner and tanks while they
You're right.
use their iron account.
The more I think about this, I mean, one, I just wanted to vocalize it mainly just to see, because if we wanted to make God Wars better. But yeah, you're totally right. One, it's not even close to the same choreographed fight whatsoever. So it's like you just bring in your Giga tank. I would just roll up with Saebe and just fucking have him tanking everything. All the mechanics are so cooked. So yeah, you got a point there.
So it's like I don't mean to shoot down your idea.
No, please shoot it down. This is why I just wanted to vocalize it, because I already instinctively was like, this is a bad idea, but I wanted to just get the actual vocal feedback. But yeah, I would love it if God Wars felt better to do. And I know we're tied down to this goddamn KC, but I just want you to quickly imagine this, just briefly. Imagine a world where there is no such thing as KC anymore. Just imagine it. Just take a second and just think of being able to do God Wars, and you just go to the room and you open up the fucking door and you kill the boss. And then I want you to imagine, Yama, you got to go kill 40 black demons outside before you can enter the lair once. Just like that. Like, think of how terrible that would be. And again, there are people stuck with the nostalgia, and I'm always sort of towing that line of like, I want the game to feel a certain way. And I understand it, which is why I'm just very radical on like the KC. Like, everything should be given way more KC. Like, it, again, if we wanted the middle ground option, it is going the ancient room route, where like if I killed a Ceradoman wizard, I'm getting 6 KC for it. And then I only have to kill, 7 of them, and I'm in. That would be much better. But man, how cool would it be to just roll up and I'm in? And again, this can actually be solved as well if everything has higher essence. And then when you leave, you don't lose that. Because that solves it too. Because then, you know, if you get a spiritual creature task in the God Wars area from Konar, it actually means something. Like, hey, I'm going to actually go do this, and I'm just going to stack up a bunch of KC. And then whenever you do God Wars, you're not thinking about hopping worlds, killing goddamn imps, or hopping worlds to, or just getting, you know, having to bring a bunch of God items to destroy your inventory. It's just, this is all so archaic, and I feel like we're playing in 2026, no longer 2015.
Right. I do like the idea of keeping the nostalgia of having to like kill things for the essence at some point. I would probably try to, like, in that case, like possibly reduce the essence you get in the boss rooms, or maybe like the minions don't give you essence, only the boss does. Just to keep it the little more spirit of like, yeah, like you still have to go out and sometimes farm some essence. It shouldn't be like,
what about
you can
this,
do
then?
like a, go on.
What about dying? You lose your essence. Teleporting out, you don't. And you lose all your essence if you die. So there is this element of don't stack up too much. It will inevitably stack up, but then you actually have the option of, if you're in under Nexus Shadow Attack and you have like thousands of essence built up, you're clicking your tele tap, you're out. Nope, fuck that. I'm not losing all this. So then there's actually an option of teleporting in those really risky, because most of the time you're just like, I'll just die, because it's basically like teleporting. But if there's legitimate risk on the line of high KC, because that would actually be cool, because that means at the end of a trip, if you've successfully completed like a Sarah trip, for example, and you have a bunch of essence stacked up, you teleport out and you're good. If you die, you lose it all. I think that's a better solution, because then there's actual risk.
I like that.
With death.
I like that. I think there should be some level of punishment. I'm almost scared that like completely going to 0 is a little too punishing, just because of like DCs and things like that.
Okay.
Maybe like having your essence, or maybe like a quarter of it, just like giving you some, having some to come back, I think is fine.
Yeah.
So like going from like 1,000 to 200, like 20%, like that, I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure. Like I'd be annoyed. I'm like, oh my God, I stacked all that and lost it, but I can still get back and build it back up. I think somewhere there's a middle ground in there somewhere, but
I mean, let's be honest.
I really like this idea.
Let's be honest. You already lose it all anyway right now.
Currently. Yeah, exactly.
So it's like,
No
even if
what.
you did lose it, it's like we're at the same system we currently have in game, and the benefit is, you know, just don't fucking lose any, because it sounds like what you want is to ultimately, because what you've suggested just kind of defeats the thing that you were saying earlier, which is like you kind of want to still grind up some occasionally. Yeah. And if you're just infinitely sort of stacking and then you only lose half, it's like you can just keep having it and you already have tens of thousands of essence stacked up, so it's not going to do anything anyway.
I would love to see something like, let's just say you can, let's just say base goes down to 0 completely. Boom, you're done. There may be either untradables added into the God Wars dungeon mobs that are very low rate, and the bosses themselves, or like maybe the actual tradable items, and you give it to a guy, or you put it in like a essence machine. I don't know what you want to call it. And then based on that, there's like some magnetic thing. Like you have given the God Wars dungeon back a piece of its armor. You now save 10 essence if you die, or you save 20 essence if you die.
It really just sounds like you just want KC to be gone, which is my original radical position. Just get rid of it. Just let us go in the goddamn boss room. But
yeah, it's kind of like that. But I want you to have to do it a few times.
You just want to kill one guy and then go in. So we keep
exactly. That's it.
Yeah, just one guy, boom.
One goblin,
killing him.
See ya. Then we're right in.
Yeah.
It just to give that, like, we talk about like losing that nostalgic feeling. I think being able to directly go in feels like but like that first time, the first few times, you got to stack up essence, get in there. But once it becomes a chore, that chore is gone. You know, like that.
Yeah.
Having it disappear early, but like you still interacted with a nostalgic part of the game. You're like, oh yeah, that was cool. But then before it gets to be tedious, you're like, okay, it's not tedious anymore because I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. There's a lot they could do. I mean, there's so many ideas, but I want God Wars to just feel better. And it would be really cool as well to have customizable respawn times. That's
Oh,
for
dude.
some reason people are against that too. I'm like, dude, who cares? There's bots running. There's bots running God Wars Dungeon 24 hours of a day right now. Just
Yeah.
if your issue is the economy, again, it's like, dude, supply and demand, brother. Like, if the prices go down, don't do the content anymore. If you're a main and you care so much, like,
Yeah,
I just thinking,
man.
why are we sitting here? If you're an endgame player and you're at Bandos, just kill the boss and you sit there for like over a minute, just waiting, just looking around. It's terrible.
Dude, you blood barrage off the minions, and you just like whatever that meme is from a Pulp Fiction. The dude just like, all right, well, okay, we're just
Yeah.
chilling around waiting for the next boss spawn.
It would just be cool
Someday.
if it would just be cool if it was like almost like a God Wars dungeon. I mean, even the altar could have a just quick start, and you could do it from anywhere. You don't actually have to approach it. You just anywhere in the room, right click it, quick start, and then in the next 5 seconds, things start again.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Love that. Just like get rid of the downtime. Alrighty, we've talked a lot about God War Dungeon. I did not expect our conversation to go in that direction, but I'm so glad you brought that up because it is a piece that is, I thoroughly enjoyed during my Iron time growing up, but I feel like a lot of Irons these days, as you mentioned, just completely bypass that and don't get to, experience what we got to experience. So, given all that, I know this summer sweep up is coming up in the next, or the blog should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. What is the one thing, I know you talked a lot about skilling at the beginning of this ramble or cast, whatever you want to call it. What is like the one thing that you want to see? Like you just like, it'll make your month better. It'll make your quarter better. Like you will walk out after reading that being like, the sun is a little brighter today.
Honestly, if I could only choose one thing, something relatively tame as well, and it's PVM oriented, would be rip the band-aid off with nightmare drop rates and make it a legitimate pathway forward that's similar to like Yama, or even something more accessible than Yama. And I mean, currently the drop rates are like 1 in 115. If they were to just make it so the drop rates basically to get an item become like 1 in 50, which is very radical, I understand that. But if you could reasonably expect an item, I mean, think about it. This boss, and by the way, when you're a mid-game player, you're not getting 6-minute kills. You're getting 12-minute kills. I don't even have a bludgeon right now. It's like, if you're rolling up with a zombie axe and you want to get your thing, like the difference between Yama is like you just roll up with an arc light or an ember light that you spoon from a Slayer task, and you're good to go. Just do a full DPS. Nightmare, there's just so many requirements to get to that top threshold of DPS, but it would be so cool, man, if at least Inquisitors was just heavily increased the drop rate, so it's a reasonable armor set to go for in a sort of entering late game part of the game where this is an option over Oathplate if you want it. That'd be so cool. So if I could choose one thing, it would be rip the band-aid off of Fasani's finally, and just give us something that is something obtainable at an earlier stage.
That's a really interesting point because everyone's always saying Nightmare is just like the retirement home. People are pulling up there, trying to get that crush set that is still not actually useful for anything. Maybe it will be
and terrible
at Raids
defense
4,
too.
who knows?
Yeah,
like paper armor, right? And like maybe you'll be able to combine it with Justy someday. But like I really like this idea of having all these options at that mid entering late game stage. Here, like right now, Yama, Oathplate is it. That is easiest to get. Boom. Bandos right now it's superseded. It's just like, well, Oathplate's comparison is Torva, honestly. And like getting to Torva compared to Oathplate is like no freaking way, right? If you can have multiple avenues, like, hey, I'm not gonna go for the Yama grind. It is a pain in the butt. I went super dry on a Synapse. Not gonna do it. You could turn over to Fasani's and you could enter the mid game with your Inquisitor set. You could come in and become like a crush kind of person, and it would be a viable route instead of just like being forced to do this like one singular. Not that you're forced, but like your upgrade path is quite clearly, it's very linear right now. It's like you are getting to Oathplate, and that is going to be your best in slot melee gear literally forever, and the requirements are so low that there's no need to go for anything else.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so upsetting how Nightmare really is just end game. Even the end game players refuse to do it. That's telling, you know? Like, it's just so useless. It's in such a shitty position. The staves are god awful these days because you have the shadow and the fucking wand, the Eye of Iac.
Eye of Iac is such a crazy weapon, man.
All of this stuff sucks except for the Inquisitor's Mace. And even the Inquisitor's Mace is just going to continuously downgrade, especially with Raids 4 coming out, which is surely going to be another major weapon. By the way, that actually does introduce something unique. If we were to actually improve Nightmare drop rates, I don't know what their plan is with Raids 4 yet, but there might be a crush weapon, and maybe there's some tie-in with Inquisitors having some effect on it or something. I know Blood Moon Rise is getting that little flail thing, but like, yeah, we just need to increase the drop rates drastically there. I'd love that.
I would love to see Inquisitors kind of being brought into a place like aligned at the maybe at the Bandos level of
Why
rarity.
not? It's
like,
the same stats, and it's got negative on some of the offensive stats. So, like, in a way, Bandos is kind of better. Again, if you wanted to use slash or stab. Seriously, like, if you had the option of using Bandos or Inquisitors, just the top and body for your Slayer task, like, you're going to actually choose Bandos over it because it's got, unless you're using a crush weapon. And then the crush weapon has a little bit more accuracy, which it's like, who cares?
That would be really cool to have the Inquisitors be at like the same tier as Bandos, easier to get, and being really good for, you know, anything crush related. And then you have something new introduced that allows you to upgrade it with Justy to get you some like high defense bonuses. So it becomes like a crush and heavy defense kind of set. And with the introduction of a potential crush weapon, mega rare type, like that will be your best in slot armor going into Raids 4. That kind of checks off a couple boxes of like making Justy kind of relevant these days, or defense relevant, and also like gear checking into Raids 4. Like if you don't have that gear, you're not going to be able to survive very well.
I mentioned, you know, that the silly idea of God Wars becoming doable or something, which I realized was stupid. But think about Fasani's being 1 to 2, man. You know, imagine you could actually duo Fasani's. It's the same exact fight, same scaling and everything, and it's contribution based. So one of the people gets the drop. Like, it'd be so fun. And all the drop rates have become much more reasonable. You roll in there with a friend. It's difficult, you know. It's difficult. It's a fun fight, and barely anybody does it.
Yeah,
it'd be so cool.
It is mechanically a very fun fight.
It is.
I will say I have not done very many. I've maybe done like 100 or 2.
You're smart for not doing many.
Yeah, save my brain. But like, it's like mechanically it is engaging. That is a really cool piece of content. But like, because the drops are so useless, most irons or most folks are like, mains are like, I can't make money off this, what's the point? Irons are like, this gear is not useful, what's the point? Nobody finds it useful. Why is it there?
And there's people that go 2,000 Fasani's and still are missing an Inquisitor's piece. Like, I literally know Iron Men that have done that, and I'm like, this is so stupid,
dude. Yeah, that's not okay, man. That is, I would love to see just like regular Nightmare get just punt it, just nuke that, just
thank you. Yes, delete that, and then move Fasani's from the top staircase to that first area. Like, that is the iconic Nightmare spot. And if it was just Fasani's 1 to 2, man, you go in there, get rid of all the normal Nightmare CAs, get rid of Nightmare entirely, pretended it never existed. I'd be so happy. Be so happy.
Dude, I would actually love that. Oh my god. Nightmare's gone. Fasani's in there. It's 1 to 2 man, very similar to kind of like Yama. You get in there, contribution based. Dude, I think we should be game devs.
I mean, I kid you not. If they were to just be like, this is an integrity update and fuck anybody who's against this, we're just doing it tomorrow. It's in the game. That'd be fucking legendary. I'm pretty sure absolutely almost everybody in the community would be fully on board and excited as hell to go there, roll up in duo, and the drop rates are way more increased, and it just feels like you're getting stuff. Holy shit, that'd be fun.
Oh my god, dude. I think I would love to know, Jagex definitely has these stats, how many Nightmares are actually done in a day, and
by
are the
players,
people who
not
do
bots.
them just bots? Yeah, exactly. Like, how many real people are actually doing Nightmare with the inclusion of Fasani? Because like, botting Fasani is easier than regular Nightmare because there's no chip damage in Fasani. So if you're a bot, just do Fasani's. Drop rates are better. And it's like, what? Like, who? Not even bots like want to do Nightmare. Like that. Like who does it? How many people are actually engaging with that content outside of randomly doing the CAs?
It's the same people that do mass necks. They don't understand like what's going on. They don't understand drop rates. They haven't looked up the drop rates. They're like, oh, boss, shiny boss, video game. I play video game. Click boss. I'm gonna get something maybe. That's really the extent of it. I mean, it's just got a lot of random people that are kind of rolling up with their dragon armor and stuff. It's the same, again, the same sort of individuals that would go to like a mass next. They don't understand that you're not getting a drop. This is lottery level of stuff. If you're in a 40-man next, you're not getting anything. You're just there to fuck around and waste time, literally. Like that is the equivalent of rolling up to a normal Nightmare with 15 people in there. They're all noobs. You know you're not getting anything, and it's just this constant pull the fucking roulette thing like over and over. And this is terrible, but I don't get it. Yeah, it's weird. And people that want to get the Nightmare jar. I don't know why the hell the Nightmare jar is 1 in 4,000, but
interesting.
From Fasani's.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, I think it's 1 in 2,000 in normal Nightmare, and it's way faster. So like Mutz, I remember was trying to go for the Nightmare jar, and he decided to do like mass and normal Nightmare.
Interesting. So there are potentially people who do it, but
yeah, he hated his life every second of it. But yeah,
gosh. Okay, good to know. Yeah, Nightmare's high on your list, and you know, based on, I remember you did a long time pre Fasani's on the old iron Saebe. You did a lot of one tick flicking, 20-minute kills, full runs. I remember catching some of those streams and being like, dude, this guy's a champion for, you know, being able to get through something like that. 9 months of Nightmare.
9 months of nonstop Nightmare, and it was over 1,100 hours of literally 1,100 hours of one tick flicking, and I spent over like 1.2 bill GP, raw GP on blood runes out in the wilderness, because that was the best way to get blood runes, and I would spend the 600 GP average price tag on them, because just buy out the whole 500 stock. And it was literally 600 GP on average per rune. Like by the time the stock is down below, they cost 800 GP per blood rune. So
oh my god,
I was just new. I mean, it was so much money spent, and then on top of that, in order to be the most efficient, I would bring Phoenix necklaces. So I crafted like tens of thousands of diamond necklaces, enchanted them all, and then I even went to Nightmare and did like 50 mil worth of Winter Todd, or what did I say, Nightmare? I went to Winter Todd, grinded 50 mil XP there to get some burnt pages for my Harmonized staff that I got to do extra damage. So this whole thing was just a fucking shit show, and I was constantly in between like 10 and 40 HP the whole fight, because that's how I had to proc my Phoenix necklaces. So any slip up in that one tick flicking process for 20 minutes meant a death, which meant run to there was no sleepy tablet, so it means run to Nightmare manually, go reclaim all my shit, teleport back, gear up again, run manually back again. In fact, Lake calculated, and I was right below him. He spent a week of in-game playtime running to Nightmare. A week of in-game playtime. I spent about 6 days of in-game playtime running to Nightmare. Yeah, like nearly 150 hours of running to Nightmare.
That's look. This is a conversation for your therapist, not me, dude. I'm sorry for opening this.
You forgot the
PTSD
best part, though.
for you, dude.
The best part was
God.
10 Nightmare staves I got before ever getting the mace, and you also forgot the best part of doing a 20-minute kill and then getting 18 raw bass on. Actually, they weren't raw bass; they were just unnoted cooked bass on the ground. Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ, that was terrible.
Oh my God. Well, I'm happy you're past that, and I'm happy that Fasani's is out. There's definitely still room for improvement. That's crazy that, you know, like even after all these iterations, you are still, and it sounds like people still are not happy with the way it sits. So I'm really fingers crossed it does get better, and one day comes down to a reasonable grind for folks. But I think that's a good stopping point for us, man. We went through a lot of the skilling things you mentioned at the beginning of the cast, all the mining, agility, rune crafting, and like the skilling community, which is, again, like I really feel like I hear a lot of PVM opinions. It's kind of cool to hear that there's a lot of skilling discussion as well. There is a whole another side of the community out there that I may not be as plugged into, so it's really, you know, fresh to see that kind of perspective. But also, of course, the chambers, the nightmare, and all that jazz. God Wars Dungeon was a cool conversation as well. I did not expect to be chatting about bandas in this call, so glad you brought that one up. Do you have any last words that you would love to tell the folks before we sign off for the day?
Well, I have last words for you. Thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure. You're a great host. And whether or not this is considered a podcast, you are a great podcaster. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, I just want the game to thrive. I mean, it benefits me to have this game thrive as long as possible. I'm a content creator. This is how I make my living, is making RuneScape stuff and playing the game. And it's funny enough, I mean, even after 7.5 years of content creation, I am in love with this game. I play it every day for hours on end. I just fucking love it, and I want it to continue to thrive. So as much as I complain and bicker and sound annoying and just scream basically about all the shit I want in this game, it's out of love. I really do want just the game to thrive and be in the best spot it can be. And I've invested 30,000 plus hours across accounts into this game, and I understand deeply what it would take to make the game across the board, including the whole side of skilling, to make it feel good and to make just the game feel connected and interwoven and feel fun across the board, where you're not just feeling like you're being tortured by certain grinds, and that we just need to get rid of that. So yeah, thank you for having me, Ignoble, and thank you all for listening.
Dude, absolutely. Thanks for coming on, man. It feels so fun to be sitting on the other side now, kind of having you on, chatting with you. It's like, it's a whole, it's you see it from the other perspective. But of course, thanks for your opinions. Love hearing it. I think you are as you mentioned, someone who has a lot of time put into the game. So you have a deep perspective going into this, and a lot of folks that may not know how much time you've put into it, and all the accounts you've built and all the experiences you've had, really build into what you want to put into the game. So glad to hear that. Thanks for coming on. And maybe I will see you on one of the next Saeder Unnoted casts.
Hell yeah, I would love to see you, man.
Alrighty.